Hey everyone, welcome to a sort of pseudo time capsule. Not like the ones you've been seeing with really old court hearings that I'm just discovering now. I actually covered this case over 2 years ago, back when I was still pretty new to doing all this court commentary stuff. When I discovered a newer hearing, I realized that I needed to go back and refresh my memory on the whole case. So instead of just making a part three, I thought I'd do something a little different since the feedback the last time I did this was pretty overwhelmingly positive. So I'm trying this again. Since I'm rewatching everything anyway, I thought it would be more valuable to create one complete video with fresh commentary, updated observations, and a chance to improve on my old original coverage, instead of asking you to jump back and forth between a bunch of older videos. If you've recently seen them and you just want to jump ahead to the update, I will provide some timestamps for you to skip ahead to the newest hearing. It's also possible that there were hearings between my original coverage and this latest one that I missed and somehow never recorded. If that happens, I'll do my best to add them as well, just to try and get this entire case complete. My goal is to make it as complete as possible. Just keep in mind that a lot of this video is going to include some of my older original coverage. And back then, I hadn't started using the on-screen commentary alerts, that little noise that tells you I've got something on the screen, or had the benefit of all the feedback you've given me over the years. So I'd like to think that my content has improved from way back then. But rather than edit those older recordings, I'm just going to use the commentary alerts to highlight my new thoughts and updated reactions or anything that I see differently today from when I did then. So keep an eye out because there won't be the auditory alert every time there's commentary in the first half of this video. Anyway, I do remember one thing about this case. It was a tough one. So without further ado, buckle up and let's get into it.
Review of qualified residential treatment programming as well as jurisdiction. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heiss, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Ms. Saja Thomas, counsel for the department.
Karen Skvinsky, foster care worker for the department.
Ms. Berger, we're ready for you whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ariel Berger here on behalf of Mother Vanessa Eberly.
Ms. Eberly, if you could introduce yourself, please.
I'm Vanessa Eberly.
Right. And then we'll go to Ms. Elizabeth Wickland. I know you were unmuting there in anticipation.
I am Elizabeth Wickland, clinical case manager at DART of Hope Network and work directly with Dylan.
Thank you. And I see we have Ms. Franklin with us this afternoon. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Jennifer Franklin, a therapist for Vanessa Eberly.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Ms. Heiss, ready when you are.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to visit with the child and observe his needs are being met in his current residential placement. Had some time with his with a care provider in his environment. I've attended some FTM with Ms. Wickland and the care team, and it is my recommendation that the placement continue. Dylan is benefiting from this. I think it's hard in the middle to be patient and trust sometimes. Mother sometimes, I think, reminds us that she's lived with him his whole life and that she has a long history with him, and she asked for help for him and he needed this help, and now we have to let the professionals take over. One of the hard parts is that Dylan isn't seeing his family at this point. I mean, his mother. In this review period, we found that the DNA matched this person that he has grown up knowing as his father. So that is a benefit and a good turn. So those people both have been, mother and father have both been participating in case planning, and he's where he needs to be. I would recommend continuing placement in a review in another 90 days. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Skvinsky, can you please be sworn in?
Come on up to our witness stand.
Today, for today's hearing, you have provided us with a court report. Oh goodness, I just closed out your cover letter. I just want to make sure that we all have the same documents that you've provided to everyone. There's the court report, a case service plan for Ms. Eberly, is that correct?
Yes.
And then the treatment plan for her as well, in addition to the case service plan. And then there's a report from the DART program and a behavior treatment plan for the youth, and then the DNA test results. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any other documents that you've received since you've submitted the report and the attachments?
Just the ICWA paperwork that we have mailed out.
Okay. And ICWA, can you explain a little more how ICWA became relevant in this matter?
Yes, so when Michael O'Connor did his DNA test, he marked on there that he was Native American. After asking him about it, he denied that he's Native American, but we still did the paperwork just to be proactive.
And so you sent that to the BIA?
Yes.
Okay, and today the documents that you have, you and I had a chance to discuss them before this hearing, correct? Okay. And at this point, you do not have a returned green receipt, correct?
No.
Okay. Are you comfortable waiting to admit those to the court until we have the green card?
Yes.
Okay. And what other efforts, I know that you just briefly stated this, but I believe you made other efforts to determine whether Native American heritage is, and if this child has any Native American heritage. Can you just briefly summarize other efforts that you made?
Yep, so I tried to communicate with Mike and Vanessa if they knew anything, and they told me they both denied that they're Native American and that they don't know their family history. And so I had called Vanessa's mother and Mike's mother, and both of them denied being Native American as well.
Thank you for those efforts. Okay, as it relates to the current permanency goal, what is the permanency goal for this youth at this time?
Reunification.
And where is the youth currently placed?
He's placed in Grand Rapids at the Hope Network DART program.
And that is a residential treatment program?
Yes.
And one of the things that needs to happen when a youth is in a residential treatment program is reviewing or discharge planning, I suppose, knowing what goals need to be achieved in order for the youth to be successful in the community again. Has there been any progress towards those goals at this time?
I would say minimal. Dylan still needs to work on his mental health treatment.
And at this time, the youth is not ready for discharge, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And during this review period, how would you describe Ms. Everly's compliance with and benefit from her case service plan?
I would say with the entirety of the case service plan, partial. I think I had sent the referral for her to do Love and Logic with Renee, and she hasn't participated in that yet. Communication with Dylan and parenting time, Dylan's requesting not to do it, so that makes it a little bit difficult for them to see each other, but we also have to respect Dylan's wants and needs.
To the extent possible, is Ms. Everly doing what she can though to at least like maintain contact with him?
Yeah, she's sending him letters as like we've recommended to her to send him letters, and she's been doing that weekly.
Okay. Wonderful. And have you had a family team meeting during this review period?
Yes, many.
And has it been discussed what needs to happen, or I guess what it would look like in order for the youth to have parenting time with his parents?
Yeah, Dylan needs to be able to talk about his trauma and talk about his mental health. Right now, he is not in a place to talk about it. He just acts out. Like the way he shows his emotions is in his behaviors. So he just needs to work on his mental health treatment with his clinician.
To the best of your ability, have you been able to discuss with his clinician or the clinical team about how long that might take? I know it's a really broad and hard question.
I mean, we have talked about it. We've mostly talked about how Dylan is doing, like when he's going through periods of getting better, but not like a time frame of when he'll be ready.
Do the parents seem to understand the clinical approach at this time?
No.
to the best of your knowledge, do you know if the, like the treatment team for mom or any of the professionals she's working with are in contact with any of the professionals that are working with the child?
Minimally.
Is there anything that you can do to help coordinate that communication?
Yep, so I added to my case service plan that we would like to meet every 6 weeks, like Vanessa, her therapist, clinician at DART, so that we can all be on the same page.
Other than the youth's mental health and need for residential treatment, but are there any other barriers to reunification? Ms. Everly has appropriate housing, transportation, employment, all of those things. Is there any other concern about reunification on her part?
Yeah, I would say like the risk remains the same as removal, which would be physical neglect, mental injury, and proper supervision.
And what services are being offered specifically to address those risks that you just mentioned?
So I refer Vanessa to do Love and Logic with Renee Moore. She is in her therapy with Jennifer Franklin. I'm looking for another Love and Logic class. There's another one coming up in February at Springbrook Middle School, and I'm also looking for ABCs of ACEs so that she can get sufficient amounts of parenting education.
This youth, I believe, had a trauma assessment, correct?
Yes.
And any of those recommendations, has she been able to comply or complete any of those recommendations?
From Dylan's trauma
Yes.
assessment? I can't be sure.
Okay. Do you recall if you've incorporated those into the case service plan at all?
Yes, they're incorporated in the case service plan, yeah.
Okay. At this time, do you believe that the youth's educational and physical needs are being met at the program?
Yes, I do.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know if the youth is at least reading the letters that Ms. Everly is sending him?
He is always given the option to read them, so she sends them once weekly, and it's like DART meets with him daily, his clinician, and it's like, would you like to read it today? Maybe the next day. He doesn't read every single one, but some of them he reads, and then he's always given the option if he wants to keep a paper copy of it and if he wants to reply.
Is there anything from your report or the other attachments that you've included that you would like to highlight for the court's attention?
No, I don't think so.
And then as it relates to paternity, we did, as Ms. Heiss note, that we did receive the DNA results, correct?
Yes.
And you included them for today's hearing?
Yes.
And I may ask, I should have asked this in the beginning, that the court and attorneys have the documents that were reviewed at the beginning of testimony.
I have them.
Ms. Berger, do you have all those?
I do.
Okay,
I do as well, yes.
thank you. And have you had the opportunity to meet with the biological father?
Yeah.
And do you know his intent and whether he intends to take action to become legal father, or if he's okay if our court makes him legal father?
It was really unclear how he wants to proceed. Can't be sure about that.
That's fine. Thank you for that answer. With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions and move to admit the court report with the attachments.
I have no objection.
No objection.
Thank you. Have they received questions for this witness, Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Skabinski, when was the referral sent to Brene, if you know?
December 5th.
So not too long ago.
Yeah, a little over a month ago.
Okay. You had mentioned that Dylan is not wanting parenting time right now with Vanessa. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that he still needs to get a grasp on his mental health.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what Dylan's IQ is?
His trauma assessment said that his IQ was 54.
Do you believe with an IQ of 54, he ever will be able to understand his own mental health?
Yes. To the best of his ability, I believe he could.
And is that
pausing for a minute because I did not leave the text on screen long enough back then. Sorry about that. Also, I still really hate this comment from Ariel.
And is that enough to get him to a point where he could safely live in the home?
Yes.
And what are you basing that on?
Dylan is working very hard on his mental health at DART. He's able to recognize how he feels towards his family. He has told his clinician at DART that he has feelings of being mad and sad with his family. So I think he can express how he feels in his own mental health.
Is he currently attending school?
Yes.
Is he on a regular IEP, or is he attending a special school for children that may be developmentally delayed?
He's attending a special school for children who are developmentally delayed.
And does he leave the facility to go to that school?
Yes.
Do they notice any behaviors while he's at school?
Yes, occasionally.
And what are those like?
I would say it's the same as the behaviors that he has at DART, where he harms himself or just becomes dysregulated.
Okay. Would you say that he's progressing at DART?
I would say yes, that he is.
Is he able to read?
Yes, he's able to read.
You know at what level?
I couldn't say at what level, but he read me an entire storybook before.
Okay. Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss.
Ms. Skavinsky, there must have been the name is escaping me right now, the Maximus evaluation for this child. Is that something that you can forward to me so I can review it? I may already have it, but I'm not finding it today.
Yeah, I'll look through what I have and find it and send it to you.
And then you talked about trauma assessment. Is that the same thing, or is there a different trauma assessment for him?
He has a trauma assessment that he completed in March of last year in 2023.
I don't think I was on the case at that point. Was that before the case opened?
It may have been, maybe, yes.
Is that something, will you check and see if that's something that I can also have for my records, even as a baseline?
Yeah.
Document? Thank you so much. And then I have nothing further. Thank you.
I was just looking, I don't think I have that CTAC assessment either. So you may want to consider submitting that. I think we might have seen it maybe as part of the delinquency file at some point.
I wonder if the Maximus evaluation's in the delinquency file, because we've got to be recertifying him through this case now that that case is dismissed. I keep track of that.
That's part of what was set for today.
Okay.
But I didn't see that. I have a resident children's foster care residential updated service plan. I didn't see, unless that's is the formal assessment part of that, in your opinion, Ms. Skavinsky, or is that a separate assessment that we would need to look for in the schedule?
I think we would need to schedule because I didn't submit anything for it, so.
Okay. Do you know when the last one, I mean, I know we had a hearing back in October, and I'm just looking at my notes. It doesn't look like we had,
I mean, he had a QRTP assessment completed when he went to DART in August.
okay.
Your Honor, if I may, we attached, there was an ex parte motion filed, I believe, by the department on September 12th of 2023, in which the QRTP assessment was attached to that particular document.
Thank you.
I have the ex parte, but I don't have an attachment. I'm gonna open a second copy of my ex parte, but Yep, I do have it in that place. Thank you very much. I don't think the C-TAC is there though. Let's see, Maximus is there. The C-TAC was probably, we must have seen it. It only makes sense that we saw it to get in there, but I just didn't know where my file was. So I do have my Maximus. Thank you. Save it just under that name too.
I do have, as of our first regular review in October, that there was an initial 30-day report from DART that was reviewed that supported the court's findings at that time that QRTP remained necessary. And obviously there's some material here today that would help us understand that. And we of course have a representative from DART as well available for testimony. But you might want to look at your requirements. I don't know what they are offhand to determine whether or not you need a formal assessment or what that looks like.
Okay. For my purposes, this DART report would suffice. I think we're not going to get anything more detailed, but we'll have to check and see if there is the rules anticipate an independent evaluation, but I think that's only every 12 months.
There is one. He had a QRTP in August, so I have one. I can send it to you.
All right. When can we look forward to our next report from the DART facility, if you know?
I do not know off the top of my head. She just sent me her USP not too long ago, maybe 1 month ago, so maybe 60 more days, I'm guessing.
But you're in regular contact with them?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Any questions based on my questions?
No.
No, Your Honor.
None.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Berger? Witness testimony today?
Yes, thank you. I would call Ms. Franklin. And are you currently counseling with Mom Vanessa Eberly?
Yes, I am.
And did you prepare a sort of case plan or goals that you're working on with her?
I did. I sent it to Karen. Yeah, I think she was going to distribute it to everybody.
Yes, I do have that.
Okay, good.
Was that drafted based on Vanessa's psychological evaluation?
That was what I had done initially. There are some, I guess, could be some changes, but for the most part, that's what we're following right now.
Okay. And do you think those line up for the most part with her psychological recommendations?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Has she been consistent with her counseling with you?
Yeah, she has.
And has she talked to you about Dylan specifically?
Yeah, she has a lot.
And have you ever counseled with Dylan or talked with him?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And have you ever counseled children with low IQs?
I have.
And in your experience, is it a different approach that has to be taken with them versus a child with an average IQ?
Oh, definitely.
Do you think, or I suppose, have you ever experienced counseling with a child with an IQ similar to Dylan's that has been successful?
I think that she's always, he's always going to have these behaviors. They will, hopefully with medication, the right kind of medication, the right types, he will level out somewhat, but I think you can pretty much anticipate a lot of dysregulation with him.
Okay. And is that due to his IQ, his mental health, a combination of?
It's a combination. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations as far as Vanessa goes? Anything that she can work on individually in her own time?
I think she has been. We've been talking about like grounding techniques, and she's been utilizing them. So we're bringing like different approaches in slowly, but she kind of has to master some of the grounding techniques kind of before adding on too many more. She was working on desensitization, I know, with her boyfriend. And but I think, and I did tell her this, I think it's too much, because she needs to have a safe person to turn to. And if her brain kind of wires him as, an enemy or, something attached to a trauma, that's not going to be a good thing for her. So I do believe that they kind of backed off on that a little bit. But I mean, that was her effort. And I applaud her for that. That's wonderful that she was practicing those things.
Okay. Is there anything specific that you want to tell the court today?
I would encourage maybe a little more pushing with him, to get him to have that relationship with his mom, because I know that he may be stating, I don't want to see her, but at the same time, you have to, I guess, take a look at, well, he might be angry with her just because he's away from her. I mean, there might be all kinds of different reasons. And if he can't verbalize exactly what he's feeling, if you sever that relationship, it's going to be very hard to heal it, once, too much time goes on.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions for you, but some of the other lawyers may. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Franklin, can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious, are you happy to be trained in EMDR?
Yes, I am.
Is that a modality that you've considered using with Ms. Everly?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Okay, and has that started?
We're trying to start it. It seems like every time there's a little hiccup from her not being able to see him, it sends her back into like perseverating and missing him and wanting to see him and being worried about what's going on there. The unknown is kind of stalling it.
Okay. Thank you for that. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Ms. Franklin, in addition to the elements that you articulated, like IQ and his behavioral habits, doesn't environment also play a role in a child's outcome?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so you're kind of working on the environment piece for us in a way. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And are you relying on her self-report as the only source of input for your counseling?
No, I was able to read all of the documents that she had sent to me. So I do have some understanding of the history. Although I haven't, I know there, sorry. I know there are times when she used a technique like holding him down in order to prevent him from either harming himself more or harming her. And I know that is like an intervention that is taught to people that work with children that are out of control. I don't, the extent of the timing, how long that was, I'm not sure. I would have to be like in the room to know, okay, is this over the top or is this like something that was necessary? It sounded to me like it was necessary, because he has, I guess, in the past made attempts to like hurt her, and definitely harm himself.
So you've talked to the mother and you've read paperwork. You've also talked to Ms. Skabinski, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're understanding that the posture of the case, we're not debating whether there was a risk of harm that brought him into care. Are you debating that?
No.
Okay, and then go ahead.
My understanding was that she had wanted this, that she needed the extra help because she wasn't, she knew that he wasn't like functioning to where he could be.
Right, so what I'm worried about is getting 2 reviews down the way, and you don't know what we're hoping for from your work with Miss Everly. What is your contact with this team? Miss Skabinski, anything else?
Just the family treatment meeting that I attended.
Family team meeting?
Yeah.
So how are we going to communicate if part of the team thinks it's reasonable that she's not seeing Dylan, and she and maybe you think that it is unreasonable? What format should we use to rectify that?
I don't know. I guess, what are you suggesting? That I mean, it's not like we focus on that in therapy. That's just something that's coming up because that's where she's at the moment.
Right, but what I'm worried about is you and she getting further down that line, and we're getting further polarized, where
Right.
she thinks it's unfair, and we're not communicating why we think it's fair, and we're not hearing why she thinks it's unfair. So we're going in 2 different directions.
Well, I guess I mean, during our therapy, I don't feel like that's the case. She's just wanting to see him.
Okay. Okay, that I don't have any other questions right now. Thank you.
So Ms. Franklin, you do have the psychological evaluation, is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yes, she did email that to me.
All right. Are you, have you read the initial petition or any of the court reports that we've seen so far?
Let's see, I read she sent me a list or a document that was maybe 60 pages, and I skimmed through those. But I looked more at like what her psych eval was.
Sure. Do you know if those documents included the CTEC evaluation of Dylan, which would, of course, lend some background information to you as well?
That doesn't sound familiar to me. I could check in the email.
Do you think that those documents would be useful to you?
Yes, I do.
Questions based on my questions?
No.
None, Your Honor.
None, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Berger, anybody else you'd like us to hear from?
Vanessa, do you want to testify today?
Yes, please.
All right, Deputy. Thank you.
Did you hear the testimony from the caseworker today?
Yes, I did.
What would you like to add?
My thing is, like everybody has mentioned, that Dylan's just hasn't been in the mood to see me. So my confusion is, and what I've been asking this whole time is, what are they doing to help Dylan get motivated, or what are they asking him to help him want to come see me? Instead of just saying, no, Dylan, because I call 2-3 times a day, and they're always like, Dylan doesn't want to talk to you at this time. And, and I've asked Elizabeth, okay, so what are you guys doing to, get him to want to see me, because eventually, he's supposed to be coming back home. I haven't seen him since October 10th. And it just seems like they're just keep saying, oh, Dylan's not ready to see you. Dylan's not ready to see you, which, yes, I understand it takes time, but if he's supposed to be coming back home and we're supposed to be working on, I'm supposed to be working on how to get better with him, I'm unable to do that. And it makes it harder for me to work on what I need to work on if I can't see him to know what I need to work on while I'm with him. So that's where I'm struggling.
Okay. And have you asked his therapist at DART what things she's recommending to him?
His therapist at DART is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is his caseworker and his therapist.
Okay. Have you asked her things?
I have, and she just said that they're working on what they need to work on him with, that he just needs time. He needs time, and I just need to be patient with him.
Okay. What else do you want to add today?
I I know that I had mentioned about, I had just found out that obviously Elizabeth is his caseworker at DART along with his therapist. To me, that seems a little weird. I don't really like that idea because to me, that's a conflict of interest. Him
If I-
being, I don't know what exactly her role is. So I guess maybe find out what her role of a caseworker is, case manager, because she's case manager and therapist.
Sure. If I told you that that happens on almost every single one of our cases, and that it's kind of normal, would you have any reason to disbelieve that?
I mean, to me, it's weird. I mean, because it just seems like they're together too much. Like he needs his personal space with his caseworker and then his space with his therapist.
Okay.
I mean, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. I think that's weird. I think that's a conflict of interest. It's just way too much time with one person. She's either a case manager or a therapist. Like to me, that's weird, but it is what it is.
Okay. Did you receive the referral for services with Miss Moore?
Karen did tell me she sent in a referral for a lady, but that's as far as that went.
Okay. Why have you not contacted her?
I didn't get any contact information for her.
Okay. Do you have a pen and paper with you right now?
I can grab one, yep.
All right, Ms. Berger, would you mind passing along any contact information after we've completed our hearing?
Yep, I wasn't going to, Judge.
Thank you.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure that she's aware that the referral is sent to Brene Moore.
Yeah, Karen did tell me that she sent the referral in sometime in December.
Okay, and do you plan to engage that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and do you plan to do that by the end of this month?
Hopefully I can swoop it in. Yes, I will do my best.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with the court today?
I did have a question about the whole my pay stubs and giving Karen my my hours. Is she still gonna need to have my pay stubs once a week because I get paid?
So
And
that'll be something that we talk about not in court right now.
Okay.
Are you willing to provide all that information to her?
I've been giving it to her. I was just curious of why she still needed my schedule because I'm not scheduling to see Dylan. And I guess that's one of the reasons when we first got him in there, that's one of the reasons why she said she needed my schedule is to work around my schedule to visit to go see Dylan.
Sure. Okay. Okay. I have no other questions for you, but some of the other attorneys may, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
No questions, thank you.
All right, anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Berger?
Yes, Ms. Wickland.
I can.
And you are Dylan's case manager and counselor, is that correct?
That is correct. I'm a clinical case manager here with DART.
And do those two roles fall together for this child?
They fall together in this program and it's kind of the standard for Hope Network.
Can you share a little bit more about techniques that you've employed to help encourage Dylan to explore continuing his relationship with his mother?
Yeah, we when we meet for therapy, we review situations and try to look at what led up to times of him becoming dysregulated. We then discussed different alternatives of coping skills that he can use in place of being dysregulated. We practice those coping skills in the therapy sessions. We role play those as well as I've tried some guided meditation with him as well, and he has responded well to that technique. He is often quiet, but he has been saying more about his feelings, about his family, and about contact with them. So he definitely has seemed more comfortable and more in sharing of more information.
Okay. And does he say why he doesn't want contact?
When he has spoken about the phone calls that come And he has stated that he does not want to check on the phone because he's afraid that they're mad at him and they're going to yell at him and speak harshly to him.
To the best of your knowledge, has that happened during phone calls?
He's not had phone calls. So what I say in response to him is I assure him that when I have spoken to his mom and dad, that they only express care and concern for him and that they really want to speak to him and they love him and miss him.
Okay. Would it be harmful to have phone visitations at this point?
If he is unwilling, there is potential for harm. Yes.
Have they been offered to him in a way where he feels like he can accept that?
They are offered to him each time that they call. So,
Okay. Like, does someone go to him and say, hey, your mom's on the phone. Do you want to talk to her?
yes,
Okay. And he always says no.
correct.
What's he doing
No,
those times?
A variety of things, involved in different activities on the milieu. He could be playing in his room, maybe just got back from a meal. They've called it all different hours. So it's never one specific thing that he's doing.
Okay. If it were a proposition to him, basically to say, it's time for the phone call with your mom, do you think he would accept that, or would he say he doesn't want to do that?
When I've propositioned him to just write her a letter, he has declined. So I would infer from that if I offered or stated it was time to make a phone call, he most likely would decline as well.
Have you had success in counseling children with a low of his IQ as him?
Yes, I have.
Okay. There are no other questions. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Wicklund, do you generally have limits on how many times a parent or a person can try to contact one of your residents? Is 3 times a day disruptive to him? Is there anything that we need to do or should be doing to help support, Dylan around that piece?
It is concerning if it really is 3 times a day, every single day. I mean, that would be 21 times in a week. It's possible that type of persistent request is continuing to keep him upset. I never like or enjoy or want to limit parental contact when it's positive and supportive. I have continued to encourage Miss Eberly and Mr. O'Connor to email letters to him. And, I always reply back when the result of the letter and any feedback that he has given. I would caution on calling 3 times a day. I understand and can really understand her desire to have contact. But it is a big concern of him remaining in a dysregulated state. He has been off safety precautions since this past Friday, but over the last 30 days, he has been on safety precautions for most of the time, due to his dysregulation, self-harming behavior. And, we can go back and kind of look at those behaviors. I have a behavior analysis team here that can take a look at that. And when those phone calls have come in to see if there is a connection to it. But, I think the letters are a more supportive way. It's at least the message is established and, can be shared. I have only received 1 letter from Mr. O'Connor, and it was very positive. It had a lot of detail in it and good information that I thought he, would really enjoy hearing. So yeah, but there is a concern for it. And I guess the concern, to be more, detailed about that, is if his behaviors were to escalate much beyond where they're at now and to a point where we're not able to manage his behaviors here, then a more secure, psychiatric setting would have to be considered for him. And we are not close to that. So I'm not stating that that's a recommendation. I'm just stating that pushing something that he is not interested in, pushing something that he's not willing to engage in a healthy way could be harmful. And that would be probably the most clear harm, is him escalating in a way that we wouldn't be able to sustain him here. I do think we're making small bits of progress. Since he's off precautions on Friday this weekend, he was able to go to the movies. He went on a van ride. He did have dysregulation last night. I didn't look at the phone record to see if there was phone calls related to that or not. But it also, they called me. I happened to be on call, so I got that call and was aware of the situation that he was in. I kind of thought there might have something to do with returning to school today, just that transition after being off for 2 weeks. And that's a big change to be going back to school. So yeah, but I mean, there are bits of progress, and he has been saying more to me about his feelings about family and how he feels about them.
Do you have it within the authority of your services that you're provided to make that decision as to whether or not to offer that? Or if you look at let me put it this way, if you look at that and you see that correlation, do you feel you have it within your own authority to handle that, or do you need, or would it be useful to you for the court to note that in the order that the contact must be at your discretion, for example?
I believe it is in the court order that you have stated that already, that it is in my discretion. I think if you wanted to be more specific, that would be very helpful. I do feel like it's in my authority to state that and to assess that and give a professional opinion on it. At the same time, I would want to do that kind of in consult with the care team. I think it's important that this professional care team is on the same page. I think for us to discuss it in FTM and to, to be able to state the reasons of why that's would be an important change to make. But I can state for the record today that, maybe calling twice a week would be more helpful and more beneficial to Dylan than 3 times a day.
All right, thank you. Any questions based on my questions? No?
No, Your Honor.
None, Judge.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Berger?
That's all. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
No witnesses today, thank you.
All right, comments?
Your Honor, at this time, Dylan, or the youth, is in need of a residential treatment program. I believe that once the youth is in the program, a QRTP assessment needs to be done on an annual basis. So I think that we're still in a good period of time. I know that this court must consider the documents that are presented at every review hearing and permanency planning hearing as to whether that program is still appropriate for this youth. And I think based on the report that was provided by DART and the report that was given by Ms. Skabinski, it's clear that this youth, the program is the least restrictive environment to ensure this youth's safety and the safety of the community at this point. So for those reasons, we are asking the court to continue to approve that placement. We are also asking for a standard 90-day review. I think there's been some really good things happening in this case, including the establishment of paternity through a biological mean. I know that we've sort of left that. I think we've sort of left that off the table today and had any testimony from Mr. O'Connor, but I believe we, given the DNA tests that you have now, the court has before it, we would ask the court to make him the legal father, or otherwise schedule a putative father hearing to see if he's taken any steps for the next 14 days to establish that legal relationship. We ask that the court continue to allow the DART program to make those recommendations about parenting time. One of the things that has been talked about in family team meetings is whatever was happening in the past was not working for this youth. And so although this is, for some, it might seem counterintuitive to prolong the separation between the youth and the parents. It is something that the professionals are wanting and are recommending, and we can remain hopeful that a change from what has normally presented this family will provide longstanding change, and that they will be able to have reunification in a way that is healthy and I guess long-term, rather than us being back here and more people as part of the team. So we just asked for that 90-day review. Thank you.
Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Judge. We would agree that the minor child is in need of residential treatment. However, I'm going back and forth on the idea of parenting time with my client. Obviously, she wants contact with this child. I am unaware if he will ever feel like he isn't going to be in trouble or upset with mom for being where he is. And a lot of that has to do with his cognitive ability. If he can't understand that we're not going to be mad at him, even if that is said, then he's probably never going to say he wants contact. And because of his age and his stage of development, I teeter back and forth on requesting an order for contact and waiting for him to be ready for that. At this point, we've waited 6 months and he's not ready. And I fear we may time out before that gets to, before that comes up and before he might say that or he might never say that. So we are asking for another review period, but I am asking for a formal order of parenting time for at least 1 hour once a week. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
Thank you, Your Honor. The court is required to involve family in residential treatment. This agency has been having family team meetings every time we turn around. We're all meeting and we're all discussing all these things so that we are in contact with each other. The father is aware that this is a DNA, that there has been DNA, and I believe he intends to become the legal father of this child. I think that although direct contact with Dylan at this time is not beneficial to him, and yet mother's concerns are constantly on the table, and she has a lot of access to the agency to articulate her concerns. We can't do both things, progress with Dylan and force him into a square peg into a round hole. You know, he is, we had a family team meeting with, the school was there, and they just really praised how much strength this child has. And we learned all about his school environment. So I say that we trust the process longer and let, one of the things that came up is if Dylan doesn't want to go to school, what if Dylan doesn't want to do this? Well, the response from the treatment facility was, this isn't, nobody can physically pick him up and carry him to school and put him down. It's not a lockdown facility. But I think that was kind of interpreted that Dylan gets to do whatever Dylan wants, and that wouldn't be the case. That's not a healthy for any child. And the treatment facility is charged with, as a residential service provider, charged with his continuing his education. So the conversation is available for this mother. At this time, the child is articulating. He's not even articulating as much as his behaviors are disrupting. And I want to remind you, when we say disrupting, you know, this child hits himself in the head to the extent that he's just got a bruised face, or he does other self-injurious behavior that he needs to be protected from the stressors that dysregulate him. I think the residential, I've been there for him and for other children. Ms. Wicklund is available anytime you need to ask really ridiculous questions. Like this time I asked, who's hugging the child, you know? And this man who's in charge of him said, you know, we had this opportunity for a side hug, but you know, it talked me through how important and critical his care is, and will eventually he'll get hugs when his mom can come back in and that kind of thing. And it isn't critical to his survival at this point. So I feel that the agency even allows me to ask ridiculous questions. He had a nice Christmas. He had a lot of toys. So anyway, I would ask you to continue to not make a visitation order at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the court finds all interested parties were given notice and the opportunity to be here today. I appreciate our service providers like Ms. Franklin and Ms. Wicklund coming in to give us firsthand information about what's been happening with the family and the progress. All of those pieces, as well as the testimony of Ms. Skibensky and the reports that were admitted today, certainly constitute reasonable efforts towards the goal of reunification. I will recognize that Michael O'Connor is the legal father of this child as a result of the DNA testing that was taken into the record today. We'll leave it to the department to decide how to move on his rights and whether or not to move on his rights moving forward. I do, as far as I understand, this is still a couple that's planning together, if you will. So if the goal is reunification, even the modicum of information that I have about what was happening in that home at the time this child was removed would suggest to me that he could potentially benefit from services, whether that's on a voluntary basis or an involuntary basis. I suppose we'll have to see. I'm sure Ms. Skibensky can have a little left hand on that and figure that piece out. She's so inclined, but we'll leave it to the department to see what's happening on that front. And that's because in the meantime, Dylan at DART at the Hope facility is in the least restrictive placement. It is meeting his needs. It's necessary and appropriate at this time for that residential placement to be continued. This is, in the court's opinion, the first place that we've seen any modicum of success with Dylan in the last couple of years that he's been subject to the jurisdiction of this court, both under this particular case, but also under the delinquency case. You have a number of petitions for delinquent behavior that had been filed and pending against Dylan until we were able to understand really his level of competency. I would note for your information, Ms. Berger, that in the initial evaluation completed by DART, they suspect that Dylan's IQ may be significantly higher than what it is. That at the time the CTAC was completed, that he was effectively, and these are my words, in crisis and had some issues that may have gotten in the way of him being able to demonstrate what his actual IQ is. So that's very encouraging information. It's encouraging that the level of that the frequency of his behavioral outbursts are reducing. Not only do we have the concern for Dylan's own personal safety, but I know, having taken a couple of emergency calls on this case, that other people have also been seriously injured because of Dylan's inability to regulate himself, including, I believe, at least 2 nurses that were trying to help Dylan and ended up in the hospital themselves with at least one with a very serious injury. So it's absolutely imperative that Dylan be given the space to develop the skills that he needs to self-regulate. So visitation, and in fact, frankly, any contact between Ms. Vanessa Everly and Dylan should only be at the discretion of and authorized by Ms. Wickland or her care team after very considered analysis, which she has certainly demonstrated she's able to do, both in the written forms and reports that I've heard, but also in her testimony today. She's demonstrated that she's extremely competent in that area, and so we will leave it to her to make sure that she's able to continue to put into place a pathway for Dylan to improve in overcoming the barriers that he has to entering back into the community. Connected to that, I would like to just remind Ms. Vanessa Everly that she needs to focus on what brought her under the jurisdiction of the court. I listened carefully to Ms. Franklin's testimony. I have read her report. I have looked through the court report. And I see really that the focus, at least today, appears to be on whether or not she can see this child, and even the focus in therapy, the notes look like there's a focus on trauma that may have occurred because he was in her home. And that's the wrong focus. I need, Ms. Everly, I need you looking at your own contributions to the behaviors that happened with Dylan, for the gaps in your own parenting, and your own personal trauma history before Dylan was even part of the picture, so that you're able to step into a space where you can process what's happening with your son in your life currently in a way that's safe for him to return into your care. To put it another way, if Dylan were ready for discharge right now, I would not authorize him to be returned into your home, because I see no progress in the area of parenting classes, parenting education, or even real progress in your therapy with Ms. Franklin, given you're sort of spinning your wheels about this business, about seeing Dylan or not. It's also an indication to me that you're not seeing Dylan's needs. You have to take it into perspective, and just as I do, what he needs right now. What he needs right now is to develop his own skill set, to recover from the chaos and trauma that he had before he got to DART, and he needs a little space to do that. So that's not too much to ask, and we're going to give that to him, both clinically, professionally, and anecdotally. And I hope to see you focus on what you need to do to bring him home into a safe and stable environment in the next report period. In the meantime, I certainly find we do have reasonable efforts, and a very diligent advocate with Ms. Heiss as our guardian ad litem, our attorneys as well. Thank you for your efforts. And we will allow Dylan to continue his efforts in residential pending our next review hearing. And that will be, do we want to also set this one on the 22nd at 10:30?
That's fine with me.
22nd was a good thing.
Yes, so that's March 22nd at 10:30. Are you still available to us, Ms. Berger, at that time?
Yes, Jenner, thank you.
Okay, so we'll just look at this case again, the qualified residential treatment programming and progress, if any, by both parents before we come back on the 22nd, and I look forward to those updates. Thank you again to all of our professionals and participants, and that's all for today, please.
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Ms. Stasia Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. Skibinski.
Karen Skibinski, foster care worker for the department.
And for the parent?
Vanessa Eberly.
Good morning, Your Honor. Eric Berger here on behalf of Vanessa Eberly.
Okay, and who's coming in from the Hope Network?
Len Cutzley, clinical supervisor for the Hope Network.
Thank you. And then do you have the juvenile there with you this morning?
I do not.
Okay. Has he been advised that he has the opportunity to participate if he so chooses?
Yes.
And do you know what his preference would be?
Yes, he would prefer not to be.
All right, thank you. Ms. Heiss, are you satisfied with that as we head into your report?
Yes, Your Honor. I also interviewed him for that information, and he is rather be at school than do this, and sent me with some information to tell you instead of him coming.
Very good. Well, I look forward to your report then whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cutzley took a lot of time to update me. I went to Grand Rapids to Hope Network, DART, to visit with Dylan, and he looks healthy. He looked calm when I saw him. I hear reports and I read black and white reports about him dysregulating, but he was calm when I talked to him, and he's stabilizing. So we've had him in care now 8 months, and I'd say that he's stabilizing. They're creating structure around him, rules and consequences. He's doing well at school, very well at school, and likes to go. The residential facility is picking him up and dropping him off for school, avoiding a bus situation that was kind of chaotic, to promote less triggers for Dylan. He has friends at DART. He also has toys that he likes there. He likes a lot of different toys. So we addressed for a long time his thoughts about mom and dad and visiting and those kinds of things. And I think that at least we can have the conversation without dysregulating him. And I was very guided by Mr. Cutzley in asking him these questions, and he scheduled a video visit, but then just couldn't do it at the last minute. We had a family team meeting with the parents who are urgently expecting to see him. They haven't seen him since October. And I get that. And I think that he's not ready. He's refusing to do that. And I think that we need to give him time. And I think that we're going to find his medications are working right now. They were going to change something, reduce one thing and add more to his anxiety medications. He's eating well, he says, sleeping well. It's my recommendation that the residential treatment is the least restrictive environment and that he continues to need the care at that level at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to note for the record, I've just double checked. We are actually here at a permanent planning meeting as well. Is there anything about that aspect of today's proceedings you'd like to address in your initial comments?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We're at 8 months and the parents are doing a lot coming to the table. I think if Dylan went home today, they would do the parenting that they used to do. They have had some education and they've completed some things, but we need them to be a Mr. Cutsley when he comes home, and to keep themselves safe and to keep Dylan safe, because he acts out physically and hurts himself, and we need them to be trained. So I believe we should continue reunification because they're doing so much, but Dylan is not coming to the table at this point. He's doing what he can do, and it's just going to take time. But we can't wait forever for permanence for him, but I think we should continue with reunification at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Your Honor. If Ms. Skibinski can please be sworn in.
We are. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Skibinski, you are the foster care worker for this case, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've been the assigned foster care worker since the beginning?
Yes,
And for today's hearing, did you prepare a court report?
I did.
Okay. Your cover letter indicates that there's the cover letter, a proof of service, an updated court report, a case service plan, trauma screens completed by both parents and DART, IGWA documentation. I also noticed that in your report, there was the DNA testing documents. Did you intend to include those?
They were part of the IGWA documentation that I had sent to IGWA. I'm sorry, I didn't indicate that on the cover letter.
Nope, that's perfect. I just wanted to make sure that we knew what they were included for, so I appreciate that. Okay. To the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to any of those documents?
No updates.
Okay. At this time, the current permanency goal for the child is reunification, correct?
Correct.
And how would you describe the mother's compliance with and benefit from her case service plan during this review period?
I would say partial compliance in totality.
And what are the areas that would need to be addressed before this child could be reunified with the parents at this time?
We would like to see mom participating in the services, things like she's been referred to, like with Brene Moore.
In your court report, it indicates that mom is there's some general compliance with quite a bit of her case service plan, but there seems to be lack of follow through with additional parenting education. Is there anything else that you think warrants a partial compliance report?
I agree, like the parenting education is the lack of follow through is the big thing.
Miss Eberly did complete some parenting education back in the fall, is that correct?
Yes, she requested to complete a CPI course and we provided that for her. We provided payment for her to complete that.
Okay. Thank you. In your report, you've also indicated very thoroughly the efforts that have been put forth for reunification for this family. So thank you for doing that. At this time, as it relates to parenting time, are you requesting any change to the court's orders, which requires the facility or therapist to make the determination on parenting time?
I would request no change. I would like that to be at the discretion of DART going forward.
Okay. And in your, have there been family team meetings in which you have been able to explain to the parents why that is your recommendation?
Yes, because we've had plenty of family team meetings to explain that to them. Dylan needs extensive mental health treatment to be able to see his parents and reunify with them. And DART has the ability to make that determination with Dylan, and they include him in the conversation on what he wants.
during this review period, would you say that there's been a little more progress towards the youth at least being open to discussing parenting time or having contact with his parents?
Yes, there has. As far as I understand, Dylan is working his way towards phone calls. He has said that he might be ready for it. He does change his mind frequently, but he is starting to open up to the idea of it.
And at this time, would you, what is your recommendation for the permanency for this youth?
To continue on the path of reunification.
Ms. Heiss had indicated something along the lines of, we would need the parents to be Mr. Cutsley. Do you know if Hope Network during discharge planning would support the parents in some trainings or anything specific for the youth?
I don't know for sure, but it is my understanding that DART is more than willing to work with the parents. They provide an extensive amount of documentation on the things that they are doing with Dylan, including their behavior management plan that the parents have copies of. So they do have the ability to team with Dylan's treatment team.
At this time, is there anything as relates to the parents? And I know that we only have the respondent mother under jurisdiction, but is there anything that you would like to highlight for the court's attention today?
Just that we have seen minimal progress in regards to the services that we would like Vanessa to complete. You know, if Dylan was returned home today, I don't think she would have the skills to parent her son. So we would just like to see her do some more effort in her parenting education and getting involved with Dylan's treatment team.
At this time, do you believe that the residential program is still the least restrictive environment to ensure his safety?
Yes, I do.
And is there anything that you would like to highlight from your court report or from your personal knowledge as relates to the child's welfare during this review period?
I mean, Dylan appears to be doing really well at DART. He loves school. He loves the school he's going to. He has relationships with the staff there. He's made progress in his mental health treatment since his placement at DART, which is a positive.
Thank you. Just want to review these documents. Thank you for that information, Ms. Skabinski. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness and would move to admit the court report with the attachments. Thank you.
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you. They have received questions. Ms. Berger.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Skabinski, is Dylan being encouraged to, I guess, have parenting time or to be able to talk to his parents?
I would assume yes, encouraged, but this is reviewed with him weekly on like what he would like to do.
Okay. At what point do we kind of change the narrative and not give the child all of the power? Because once he's returned home, assuming he's not going to have all the power and he is going to have to listen to his parents.
I would leave that up to the treatment team to make that decision when it would be appropriate to, I guess, subject Dylan to that without his own say.
Do you know if that's been discussed yet?
I understand that the treatment team is still working with him and giving him patience in his own mental health for him to be able to make the decision if he would like to see his parents.
Okay. And is there like a deadline that he would have to leave that facility?
I mean, the goal would be to reunify him with his parents within a year, but no, there's not a deadline.
Okay. So if it takes a certain amount of time, they're not going to say that they're discharging before he would be ready for that.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? Cut out just a little bit.
Sure. So they wouldn't be discharging until he's ready for that. There's no, end date.
No, that we would look at the discharge plan as Dylan became ready for that. At this time, he's not ready for discharge.
Okay. And what parenting education, what classes is Vanessa currently doing, if any?
As far as I understand, she just did the Love and Logic group course that happens at Springbrook. She was able to attend 3 of the sessions. And the sessions that she did not attend, they gave her documentation on what she would have missed. But that is the only parenting education that she's involved in.
Okay, so is that considered complete then?
She did send me a certificate, so yes, complete.
Okay. Is that class tailored for people with children with special needs like Dylan?
As far as I understand, there's skills that the parents can learn from that course and apply to their situation. Working with Brene Moore would be more tailored to their specific situation.
Okay, so the Love and Logic is for quote unquote normal children?
I think it's for all children. I think there's skills that they can apply to their situation.
Do you know what?
The Love and Logic, sorry, the Love and Logic approach.
And do you have experience with parents successfully applying those with children with special needs like Dylan?
I couldn't say that.
Okay, so no.
I would say, Elizabeth, who was the previous case manager at DART, she was the one who brought to my attention what Love and Logic is. So it's my understanding that they use these skills with the children there as part of their treatment. So if it's working there and positively impacting Dylan, it would also work in that home.
Okay. And when was the class with Brene Moore, when was that recommended to Vanessa?
I sent the referral on December 5th.
Okay. And do you know what days of the week that is?
It's any time that they would like to schedule with her. She's even offered weekend appointments with them. So it sounds like 7 days a week she would have availability to schedule with them.
Okay. And the Love and Logic class, do you know how long that was or how many or what day of the week that was?
I'm sorry, which one?
Yeah, the Love and Logic class. Do you know what day of the week that was on?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just confused which one you're asking about. The Love and Logic with Brene Moore or the one that they were doing at Springbrook, that's the group class.
Are they both called Love and Logic?
Yes.
So the one that she already completed.
It was Thursday nights for, it was a 6-week program.
Okay. And is Love and Logic with Brene, is that a defined program? How long would that program be?
It would be as long as they needed it. The referral, I believe, it's a 6-month referral, and it can be extended as long as they need to work with Brene.
And is that recommended weekly?
Weekly would be best, but whatever can work into their schedules.
Okay. And is there another referral you sent for parenting education this reporting period as well?
Yep, I had sent them just another referral just to try to get them involved in something, and that was for raising highly capable kids. It was just some parenting education just to get them to try something because at the time they weren't involved in anything.
Okay. And are you still asking that they complete that?
I'm really pushing for them to get involved with Brene Moore because she can create a plan that's really tailored to their situation and work with them individually.
Okay. So is the raising highly capable kids, is that going to come off the case plan?
If they get involved with Brene Moore.
Okay. And Vanessa's currently working, right?
Yes.
And do you know how many days a week she works?
No, not always, because she did not send me her work schedules this reporting period.
Okay, is it part-time or full-time?
It's a part-time job as far as I understand.
And she attends counseling on Wednesdays, is that correct?
Yes.
So if she were to try to do all three of these parenting education courses at once and work and attend counseling, would that be possible?
I'm not asking her to do all three at once. I was asking her to get involved in something, and for a while she was involved in nothing.
Okay. So right now her focus should be on working with Brene, correct?
Correct, because the Love and Logic group at Springbrook has ended.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. No questions. No further questions.
Ms. Heiss?
Dylan is in 5th grade, is that right?
Correct.
And his school is a specialized school setting with very few students and increased levels of staff, right?
Yes.
Do you receive from DART incident reports when Dylan gets dysregulated?
Yes, I do.
And when you review them, are you seeing appropriate levels of restraint and that kind of thing?
I would say yes, appropriate, but they utilize restraint as much as not possible. Like there's a lot of coping skills that they use prior to having to resort to restraint.
What percentage of your, do you know the cost of care for Dylan per day?
No, I don't know that.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing further.
What is the department's position as it relates to Michael O'Connor?
Michael O'Connor right now is considered the non-respondent parent, and we are encouraging him to do services the same as Vanessa. He doesn't always want to, but we're encouraging him.
As I recall, he was involved or present in many of the incidents that led to the department filing the petition as it relates to the mother, but he was not actually determined to be the legal father of the parent at the time, or legal father of the child at the time. If he's a non-respondent parent, and it becomes time to discharge this child from the hospital, would there be any reason that we shouldn't allow him to go back to the primary care and custody of Michael?
I would suppose we would have to further investigate that.
Well, would you be willing to look at that in the next report period so that we know what he needs to do in order to be a safe parent if there are concerns?
Absolutely.
When it's time.
Yes.
Thank you. Redirect, Ms. Thomas.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
All right. Any other questions based on my questions or anything else, Ms. Berger, Ms. Heiss?
No.
Nothing additional. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gavinsky. You may return to your seat. Thank you. Other witnesses, Ms. Thomas.
I would ask if Mr. Cutzley would please be sworn in. Mr. Cutzley, thank you so much for being here today with us. It's always very helpful when we have staff present. I have a question regarding the parenting education component here. Is there a specific type of education or class or something that DART provides to parents while their children are in treatment, or is that closer? Does it happen when it's closer to discharge? Like discharge looks like it's pending.
It really kind of depends on the unique situation of the case. Some of that is obviously limited by proximity, but we're more than willing to work with parents on what we do with their children.
Okay. And have you had? Do you think that you have good rapport with the youth's parents at this time?
I have only had initial contacts with Vanessa and Michael. Our conversations have gone fine, but to say that we have a deep rapport, I don't know that I could say that. I just got involved with the case on effective February 16th. So about as much as can be accomplished during that time, I would say has been.
Okay. I think that there's also some question about, I know that Ms. Berger had asked Ms. Skabinski about Dylan leading this discussion around parenting time and, how long that might be appropriate to continue. Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah. Although it's going to be a bit gray, I should preface my answer by saying that I think there's a certain amount of risk involved either way. One, allowing this to occur indefinitely would not be good, but also jumping to forcing it, my concern would be what would the response of Dylan be should that go poorly, and then we could be further behind. So there was some initial discussion about the parents coming up for his birthday, and as of yesterday afternoon when I was talking with Dylan, I had asked him, I said, what do you think about that? I mean, obviously, I could be there, another staff, if you felt like you needed somebody around you, not necessarily because of danger, but just so he knew that he had emotional support. And he said he was okay with that. Now, as has been previously stated, that could be an 11th hour change of decision. But he has always offered that, always encouraged in various ways. It could be I've even offered like, hey, if you want to write them a brief email, I can sit here, you can type, I can type, whatever the case might be. So there's a certain amount of that is difficult to discern. But even saying that it's difficult to discern when it's an appropriate time says something about where we're at. So at this point in time, I'm tentatively okay with the idea of them coming up and celebrating his birthday with him, and subject to change based on where he's at the time, emotionally, I should say.
Thank you. And is there anything else that you think our court should know as the court considers what orders to make to assist this family with reunification and what's in the best interest of the youth?
I think the notion of there's been some discussion about love and logic. I'm not familiar with the other courses that were mentioned, but we use love and logic as a basic underpinning to what we do. It's not a be all end all form of parenting, but what it is and where it can be helpful with our staff, and the reason why we teach it is to avoid unnecessary power struggles that lead to escalating Dylan or getting involved in things that could lead to him becoming unnecessarily escalated. And the reason why we teach that to our staff is so that they remain calm and they don't escalate the situation further. And knowing that we're all human, that can happen. So it's not everything that's involved in Dylan's treatment. I don't want to say that, but it is a mindset of approaching situations to avoid unnecessary power struggles and also to avoid becoming escalated ourselves.
Wonderful. Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Berger?
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cudsley, I know you and the parents know what it looks like when Dylan dysregulates, but I want you to describe it so that we know what we're avoiding for him. Will you describe to us what happens when he dysregulates?
Sure. All semblance of rationality goes out the window. That's the important thing. And he will become physically aggressive, throwing and breaking things, little appreciation for his own safety during that time. The most obvious thing that we notice with Dylan, and it has in recent weeks slowed down a bit, which is encouraging, but when he would become upset, the first thing he would jump to tying things around his neck, saying that he wanted himself. And while I don't believe that he genuinely wants to do that, I should say that, because if I said, well, I'm going to have to put you on precautions and strip your room, he was like, well, don't do that. So he doesn't want to lose. He really doesn't want to die. I think it speaks to how dysregulated he can become in a short amount of time, and just the ultimate lack of intermediate coping skills along the way. I mean, resorting to tying things around your neck is pretty extreme response to some relatively minor stressors. So my concern for him is just when he does get dysregulated, it can get really high needs, and we have to pay a lot of attention to him and make sure that he does de-escalate. But he is making incremental progress over time. That's the good news. But that it can be quite concerning when he does get to that level.
Okay, and you discuss with Dylan directly his wishes about visiting his parents?
Yeah, I have those conversations with him almost in all of our therapy interactions. What has usually happened is I will say, hey, well, for one thing, I share with him all the emails and things that his mom and his dad has written one. He's gotten something from his grandma in Colorado. I make sure that I share all of that with him. And he'll say, okay, I try to get him to engage in some level of reciprocity. And then he will kind of on a shallow level say, yeah, okay, but not right now. Or he'll quickly change the subject to avoid doing it. So actually getting him to engage has been pretty tough. We did have a scheduled phone call. He seemed willing to do it. That was last week, I believe. And at the 11th hour, he escalated very quickly over a innocuous matter. Can I say definitively that he was trying to avoid the phone call? He hasn't articulated that, but I do have my concerns that that was the case.
Okay, and you remain available to talk to the parents? They can call you and ask questions?
Yeah, Vanessa contacts me quite regularly.
And you, but do you give her all the educational updates that you get?
As far as like how things are going at school?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know that I've spent a lot of time specifically discussing the educational stuff. A lot of it has been more about how Dylan's doing on the unit day to day, where are things at as far as contact with him and things of that nature.
So it looks like his birthday is the 28th. If you were to design a visit, would it involve sugary snacks, loud balloons, gift wrap? Can you make suggestions to make the environment maybe more calm or whatever you suggest? Can you design that and impress upon the parents how it will go?
Yeah, I don't think, well, there really wouldn't be a great place at Dart to have a Chuck E. Cheese style party, I guess you could say. But to reference the school bus situation, Dylan wasn't necessarily involved or a ringleader on problems that were occurring on that bus. I noticed that, and that bus involves community kids as well. But I just noticed that whatever was happening on that bus with other kids was troublesome to him, and he would get off the bus almost in a pre-dysregulation manner. So our idea was like him, and then there's another person as well, just for their own benefit, was like I don't think this is a good idea for him to be around this degree of what I think is a bit chaotic situation. I can't definitively say because we don't run the bus. But as far as that concerned, a visit at DART, I would not do an off-grounds visit at this point. But what I would suggest is that they meet in our front conference room. I could potentially facilitate it. We'd keep things light, to be honest with you. I wouldn't try to deep into any serious therapy issues at this time. I would try to do what I could to make the contact positive as possible, because part of the concern, it's not only about contact at all, yes or no, it's what type of contact. I certainly don't want to set things back by expecting too much of him too soon, or diving into a meaty topic the first time he's seen his parents in a long time.
How about like boundaries regarding hugging him and different things like that? Can you set some expectations?
I'm unaware if that would be a problem for him. The only thing I would recommend is see if he initiated it, or have them ask like, hey, do you mind if I give you a hug, or whatever the case might be.
Okay, very good. And Is it right that Dylan is in control of the consequences that he chooses? Is that kind of the system that you use?
I guess you would have to frame that a little bit differently for me. I'm not entirely sure that I understand.
So is he in control of if he wants to break something of someone else's, there's a consequence for that, right?
Correct.
And so he doesn't get everything everything he wants to do, right? He gets a no from time to time.
Yes.
So can you tell him he has to visit his parents? Why would that be against your therapeutic advice?
To just say you're visiting with your parents no matter what.
Right, just like you're not going to play in the middle of the road, you're not going to break other people's things. The rule is you have to visit your parents. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Well, to back up a step, as far as like phone calls are concerned, you have to have whatever weekly phone call with your parents. I have no ability to force that. I can't make him talk. I can't lay hands on him to force him into a room where there's a phone. So, I mean, there's things I could do, generally speaking, if, let's say, one incident we had with Dylan, he was outside, he got mad about something, he hopped the fence, and he was in the woods behind our facility. He never left anyone's eyesight. But the reality is once we got him back in, like, hey, I have to trust you before I give you that opportunity again, right? So, and part of and then there's things you're going to need to show me, and I don't expect Dylan to automatically correct that. That's something that's going to happen over time. But the point being, particularly with love and logic, is controlling the things that I can control versus getting into control battles that I can't control. I would not be allowed by the department, nor would it be appropriate for me to grab him, force him into where he can have a phone call with his parents, and then demand that he talk. I have no ability to do that.
Thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Koosley, there's some indications in the information I have that the parents are under the distinct impression that Dylan's problems are his own. And I understand from my review of many of the documents and reports and during the course of this case that he certainly does come with a litany of challenges organically, if you will. In your opinion, in your observations, would you characterize Dylan's issues as purely organic or as potentially influenced by incidents or experiences he may have had before he came to you? If you can answer that.
Well, it's difficult for me to answer simply because I have not witnessed Dylan in action with his parents. So, in part because he has refused to basically since I've been on the case, he's really refused contact with them. Although that is odd to me. I'm not going to infer what that means. I'll just say that is very, very strange for kids to come in and not want contact with their parents at all. Even the kids I have that have gone through horrific situations seem to have a pie in the sky, rose-colored glasses as it relates to their parents and want to go back to them and things of that nature. So that whole piece of things has been a puzzle that I do not have a solution for. Let me first say that. Dylan is he has some organic things that are inherent to who he is. To what degree is such as his IQ. He has a cognitive impairment. He was most likely born with that, and that's nobody's fault. As to like what degree of this behavior is a trauma reaction, to what degree is this an organic reaction, I can only offer speculation.
Thank you. Questions based on my questions from any of the attorneys?
No.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and your testimony and your efforts on behalf of Dylan, Mr. Koosley.
You're welcome.
Anyone else you'd like us to hear from, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Berger?
Vanessa, do you want to testify today? Vanessa, what things are you currently engaged in?
Right now, like I said, I just finished the Love and Logic 3-week class. I got my certificate in that last night. I did start another one at the school here in Adrian. And the teacher had strictly told me that it had nothing to do with me, that she didn't feel I would benefit from it. So I did talk to Karen yesterday about it when I went to the office. I did end up contacting Brene Moore yesterday. I sent her an email. We are trying to get that squared away and figuring out between my work schedule and Mike's work schedule and her schedule. So that is ongoing with that. I just got in contact with her. That was an issue, that mistake and misunderstanding that I had. So I apologize on that. I am working on that. I have been trying to get things going. Like I said, I have been in contact with Glenn on checking up, seeing how Dylan's doing, and what I can do to help him with the process of, trying to nudge Dylan to want to talk to me, see me, type thing. So we've discussed a lot of stuff with Dylan, and I've discussed with him on different techniques and stuff that I can use once we get to that point where I am able to see Dylan. So I have been contacting Glenn a lot lately. So
Okay. And you understand that right now the agency wants you to really focus on working with Brene?
yes, ma'am. Yep.
Is there anything that you have questions on regarding your services?
No, like I said, I'm just waiting to get an email back from Brene to see hopefully when we can all figure out a time and a schedule that works for all of us. Cause I know Michael said that he, wanting to try and participate in it as well. So just trying to figure out a date that works for all of us, if not at least a date that will work for me to at least get it started with Brene.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to update the court on today?
Nope, just working on my therapy with Jennifer and working on, my struggles and what I can do to not have struggles. And so I think I'm doing pretty good. I mean, she's nudging me a little bit, but I think I'm doing good, and I'm getting there. So
I don't have any other questions for you, but some of the other attorneys may, okay?
all right, thank you.
Ms. Thomas.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss.
Miss Eberly, you completed some kind of a CPR class, right?
I did. Yes, I did a CPR AED class. Yes.
And specifically child CPR.
Yes, ma'am. It was child and adult, both of them. Yes.
And that was in Toledo, and you completed it March 2nd?
Ma'am.
And I know that because you sent me your certificate, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you want to be ready when Dylan's ready for discharge. You want to be ready to have a happy home, right?
Yes, ma'am. That is
Okay.
my goal. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I have, let me just ask, are you trusting the team? Do you think the team, meaning Karen, all of us, Mr. Cutsley, we're doing what's in Dylan's best interest, or do you think there's something else we need to do?
I do. Like I said, I was talking to Karen about that I would like to try and find a more specific parenting class that has to do with strictly with kids with disabilities. I think I'd benefit a lot from it. But so far I've talked to a lot of the classes that I've gone to, and they don't know of any that are specifically for kids with disabilities. So
Okay.
I've been reading books and stuff up on it, but I would like to try and find a class that is, has to do with kids with, bipolar or just disabilities in general that can help me with behavioral parts that I struggle with Dylan.
Right. So that's the Brene Moore part.
Yeah, which, like I said, I'm working on. I'm waiting for an email back from her. So.
And then will Michael also participate in that, do you think?
He's wanting to, because of his schedule. I don't know. That's why I said I'm trying to get something that works for all three of us. If not, then at least I want to get it starting. And then if he can come, he'll come. But I know that was the goal, is to try to get it set up for all three of us. But If not, then I'm gonna get it set up and he can set it up with her when he's
Okay,
ready.
thank you. That concludes my questions.
Can you redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Any other witnesses?
Not at this time.
Ms. Heiss?
No witnesses, thank you.
Comments in closing then, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, it appears that the residential program is the least restrictive environment for this youth. And we, I believe that everyone's in agreement that that placement should continue. As relates to the permanency planning component of this hearing, I also believe that everyone's in agreement that reunification remains the goal for this youth. I know that there's some question up in the air as a newly established legal father is in the picture legally. This person has been in the picture for, I believe, the youth's entire life. And so from the department's perspective, it's been my understanding that although legal parentage is established, there's no custodial rights until a custody order is sought or other action is taken by the parent. And we are sort of just waiting on that, but we remain hopeful that the father will be engaged in the youth's treatment. And if discharge becomes apparent, that the both parents would be participating in that as they are seemingly planning together and remain in a relationship. With that, we would ask for the court to continue to allow the treatment team at DART to make those determinations regarding parenting time, that they are in the best situated position to make those determinations. And then we would also just request the standard 90-day review. Thank you.
Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Your Honor. We are too asking for another 90-day review. It does seem like both parent and child are making progress. I was hopeful that maybe we were a little bit closer to some parenting time, but it does seem that we are getting closer and that at least that can be a topic of discussion without completely dysregulating this child. So at this time, we are asking for another 90-day review and just to allow some more time for services to be completed. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
Thank you, Your Honor. The way this case came about is that Dylan was dysregulated at home and mom asked for help. And mom came to our attention because she, like when Dylan was discharged from Maury Spear campus and she couldn't take him home. He's not safe. And so we all came to her support and he was evaluated to need this level of care. So here he is, he's in that level of care. And I think mother at family team meetings and mother and father are trying to express that they want it for the record, that they care and that they want to see Dylan, let alone their heart. But the way to do that is to do services and to make Karen's life less difficult. It comes across sometimes as very challenging, very mistrustful, and it doesn't help the team. I hope we demonstrate that Dylan is in incredibly good care, that we're all keep seeing him physically and checking on his grades, and his teachers are just incredible with him. They've been to some of our family team meetings, and the parents have to get well and change some of their parenting techniques so that when he comes home, they can continue the structure that Hope has put in place. So I think if we, Karen's job, I see that she's emailing to get somebody to connect with Brene or to connect to this service and that service. I hope that'll go better in the future and that everybody will trust that DART is doing what needs to be done for Dylan. But thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties are given notice for purposes of today's review hearing and permanency planning hearing, as well as the qualified residential treatment review. Dylan clearly continues to need that high level of structure in that residential placement that was confirmed today, as well as supported by the information provided for me to review in anticipation of today's hearing. We also heard that confirmed by Ms. Kavinsky in the stand. That is part of the reasonable efforts that she is providing in this case towards the valuable and appropriate goal of reunification. I appreciate that that Ms. Everly is engaged in some parenting education. We're going to need her to demonstrate that she's very serious about that, given her child's high level of needs. But also, I I haven't forgotten the very serious issues that were raised in her psychological evaluation, specifically her experiences that she's been through and how those will affect her ability to help her child move through some of the challenges that he faces, both organic and those that she's taken responsibility for by way of the initial adjudication and have continued to be observed, frankly, prior to Dylan's entry into the DART program. I've already remarked on this in a way by my question to Mr. Kutzley, but it continues to concern the court that it appears both parents have taken the position that simply Dylan's organic challenges are the only ones that are presented here, and that's clearly not the case. Should we have an adjudicated parent here who has at some point taken responsibility for a pretty significant gap in parenting, which is related back to some of the trauma that she has herself been through in her life. There's some EMDR programming that she's supposed to be engaged in with her counselor. And there were a few remarks about that in the court report, but it's imperative that we get an update from her counselor next time, Ms. Gavinsky. I've laid that out in the last page of today's order as well, asking you to make sure that we get an update on her progress. I know that there were several materials that were provided to Ms. Everly and to her counselor, Ms. Franklin, to work on. I'd like to know if those are being utilized. I can see that she is embarking down the road of some EMDR treatments. The initial assessment for that was at least 9 months, so I'd like to know where she's at on that, and to confront, if you need to, Ms. Franklin on some of the risks that were identified in that psychological evaluation and whether or not that's being addressed in her work with Ms. Everly. It's imperative that she be doing the work necessary to support Dylan as he does the work necessary for him to try to get to a place where he's stabilized and can move out of that residential placement, or we're going to end up in the same situation we were before, likely with a more devastating impact on a young man who has seen that it's possible to have an environment that he can function in, at least for periods of time, which appear to be getting longer and longer, and that's very encouraging. So that is certainly the safest and least restrictive circumstance for Dylan at this time. Those areas are still areas that this court is identifying as major challenges that face Ms. Everly that we need to see have been remedied. I've expressed my concerns also to Ms. Gavinsky on the father in this case. I need that looked at. We don't need to start over with a new parent when this child is ready to discharge from DART. That's going to be a big issue if we don't tackle it now. I appreciate ICWA's been investigated. That's I want to take a minute to just give you credit for that, Ms. Gavinsky, because it's not always easier, or Ms. Burgess, whoever was able to accomplish that. But it's clear that the inquiry was done correctly with a lot of accompanying documents to help the BIA in their investigation. The certification of mailing was done correctly. I've got the green card receipt and a letter from the BIA. So A+ on that. And that's something we all, I know, have seen as being very challenging. So thank you for your efforts on that piece, as well as your efforts on the file in general. Thank you also to Ms. Heiss and our attorneys. Excellent work. And we'll have our next review in June. It'll also be a permanency planning hearing. So specifically with Ms. Berger here, we'll have to look at calendaring that. I'd like to suggest June 11th at 9 a.m.
Disregard the text on the screen right now. I actually did locate the hearing that was missing from this video. I will include it after the backward time travel from the original.
Works for me.
Okay, very good. We'll see you back here then for our next review and permanency planning hearing on June 11th. All right, we are on record on Zoom regard to the initial petition in this matter. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Karen
Stasia Thomas. Hang on, I'll go first. Stasia Thomas with the department. Karen, go ahead and state your name.
Okay, Karen Smiski, foster care worker.
Could you spell that first, please?
Yes, CARINSKIBINSKI.
Okay, C-A-R-I-N.
Yes, SKIBINSKI.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ariel Berger here on behalf of Mother Vanessa Everly.
So we have Ms. Everly. I know we don't have her in the courtroom.
I'm here, Your Honor.
There we are. Okay.
I'm Vanessa Everly.
All right, let's start with your report, Ms.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to visit with this child face to face, and he, when he was still back at Hickman Hospital. I do want to report, I'm in charge of his legal rights, and he has a right to the least restrictive setting that can keep him safe and provide normalcy. He is also entitled to a placement that does not create a risk of harm to him. So when I look at the caregivers in this instance, I found one who actually physically gets goosebumps when she talks about this child. To me, that means above and beyond her work, she is personally invested in this child doing well. She's known him for over 5 years in the capacity as a ER nurse here in town. So she's very invested in his care. There were 2 caseworkers round the clock from DHS. There was a 1-to-1 nurse. There was a 1-to-1 security guard. Now, since I visited with him, he's been moved to a more secure facility for psychiatric stabilization. They're seeing what we saw, so I'm glad that it didn't change, so that they're seeing what was happening here, some of the same behaviors, but we're seeing some stabilization. DHS is monitoring is supervising the visits. So it'll be a long road, but we finally got to the next stage of helping this child. So I would recommend that the placement is in his best interest at this time, and ask you to continue that placement. I also agree that with a comment in the court report about a DNA test if Mr. O'Connor is willing to. For lots of reasons, I think that would be instructive. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Skibinski can please be sworn in.
Okay.
Ms. Skibinski, may I refer to you as Karen?
Yes.
Karen, are you the foster care worker in this matter?
Yes.
And did you provide a court report for today's hearing?
Yes, I did.
And were there any other attachments to your court report?
Just the case service plan and the behavioral plan by Pine Rest.
Wonderful, thank you. And are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to any of the documents that you provided for the court today?
No.
At this time, what is the current permanency goal for the child?
Reunification.
And do you believe that at this moment in time, there would be a substantial risk of harm if he were to be returned to his mother today?
Yes.
And can you elaborate what that risk of harm would be?
Vanessa has not been given the opportunity to work her case service plan, so the risk of harm still remains as physical neglect, mental injury, and improper supervision.
Thank you. And other than the risk of harm that you just mentioned, are there other barriers to reunification at this time?
Yes. Vanessa needs to be able to identify what she needs when Dylan is in heightened behavior, and also what Dylan needs, and to be able to communicate that, as well as to be able to identify like her social supports.
Sorry, I'm just taking some notes here. Thank you. Since Ms. Everly was adjudicated last month, has she been able to engage in any voluntary services at this point?
Vanessa is engaged in her therapy right now.
And are there any other services that you've made referrals for yet, or are those forthcoming?
The referrals are forthcoming for the psychological and the parenting classes.
Great. And the LGL mentioned that the child is currently placed at Pine Rest. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And you did provide a DH-69 with that information within the last couple of weeks, correct?
Yes.
Do you also believe that Pine Rest is the least restrictive environment for the child right now?
Yes.
And do you believe that it also ensures his safety?
Yes.
Now, Pine Rest is a hospital, correct?
Yes, it is.
Are there any plans for when the child is stabilized and no longer meets the criteria for hospitalization?
Yes, he's been accepted into DART, and they will have a bed ready for him as soon as this week.
And for those of us who may not know what DART is, can you just briefly elaborate what that is?
Yeah, DART is a residential facility that's able to work with kids who have heightened behavioral needs like Dylan.
And where is that located?
also in Grand Rapids.
Okay. What is today is also initial disposition, so I should have asked this question earlier, but the case service plan that you have included in your court report and that you have also attached, did you have an opportunity to review that with input from Ms. Eberly?
Yes, we talked about it on the phone. Yes.
And do you believe that the case service plan addresses the conditions that caused the child to come into care?
Yes.
And do you believe it's tailored to meet the family's needs?
Yes.
At this time, what is the current plan for parenting time with Ms. Eberly and the child?
Right now, parenting time is supervised. It's 1 time a week for 1 hour. We want to ask the court to change it so that says it is up to Dylan's treatment team.
And when you say it's up to the treatment team, would that be the treatment team from Pine Rest or where he's going next?
From DART.
Okay. The hospital, Pine Rest, do they have any recommendations regarding parenting time or anything like that?
No, they don't. They are a hospital, so they don't do parenting time recommendations or anything like that.
Okay. And during the hospitalization, is there any indication how long he will be at Pine Rest?
They have said that Dylan is doing better and he's stabilized, and as soon as DART is ready, that they will be ready for discharge.
Okay. And at DART, do you know if parenting time will be virtual or in person?
In person.
Okay. And logistically, that's sort of a hike for Miss Eberly, correct?
It is.
Okay. And are there services or support to help her get to and from Grand Rapids area if needed?
Yeah, we've given Miss Eberly gas cards, and we can continue to do that to help her travel that way.
Wonderful. Ms. Heiss mentioned something about a DNA test, which is also in your report. At this time, the child does not have a legal father, correct?
Correct.
And you are asking the court to order DNA testing for Ms. Eberly's lived together partner who has been in his life for almost the entirety of it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything that you'd like to highlight from your court report or bring to the court's attention as relates to the child and or Ms. Eberly?
No.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness. I would move to admit the court report with the case service plan and the behavioral plan from Pine Rest.
Objections? None.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. They are received. Questions for this witness, Ms. Berger?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can you reiterate the discussions that you've had with Mom about the plan for in-person visits?
Yep, so Vanessa knows that in-person visits are for her and Dylan only, not for Mike to be present, and they're supposed to be a positive experience for her and for Dylan.
Okay.
What was his name? Sorry, what was his full name for the, so Michael is not supposed to be there. I'm assuming that's Ms.
Michael
Evans.
O'Connor, that's her live together partner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And when these visits are supervised, how has the agency been helping coordinate that?
They are supervised by me right now because Pine Rest does not have the ability to supervise the visits. So I have been traveling to Grand Rapids with Vanessa to meet her there for supervised parenting time.
Okay. And when or if Dylan is moved, what would be the plan for supervision at that point, if there is a recommendation for supervision still?
If DART needs me to supervise the parenting time, I can do that. If DART has the ability to supervise parenting time, we can work with them as well.
Okay. Do you think that parenting time needs to be supervised at this time?
Yes.
Okay. What about phone calls?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what's your plan for supervision regarding phone calls?
We can set up ahead of time 3-way phone calls for me, her, and Dylan.
Okay. And what things specifically can my client work on between now and the next review hearing?
Her case service plan, we're going to help her get into parenting classes and to get her psychological done.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
I have no questions, thank you. Okay. Has Ms. Everly filled out any paperwork or done anything to redirect the security, social security or other funding that is provided from the state of Michigan for Dylan's care, do you know?
I do not know. I don't think so. But I don't know.
Would you be able to look into that?
Yes.
Thank you. We want to make sure that whatever funding is available for him gets transferred to help pay for his care. Okay. All right, any questions based on my questions?
Judge, I just have one additional, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think my client has a proposed a parenting class that she found. It's an acronym that I can't think of right now, CPI, I think. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what's the agency's position on that right now?
The class looks like it would be good for Vanessa, and we're going to look into getting her enrolled in it.
Okay, does that mean you are going to enroll in it?
We still have to look at it and make sure that it's appropriate for her, but what she texted me pictures of, it looked good.
Okay, and do you know how soon that you'll be wanting to do that?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
I have nothing, Your Honor. Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses today, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Anyone you'd like us to hear from today, Ms. Berger?
Vanessa, do you want to testify today? You're muted.
If you need me to, yeah, I can.
Sure. How do you feel about your visits with your son right now?
They're going good. I mean, they're short, obviously, because he doesn't really, be able to sit still long enough. They're like maybe 10-minute visits, if that. I try to, talk to him and see how he's doing, but he's more often to, I guess, feeling he's missing out on whatever the other kids are doing. So it's, like I said, it's maybe 10 minutes tops.
Okay. And what about phone calls?
I've had one phone call with him. Well, I've had 3 altogether. I had 2 with him by himself with the nurses, and then I had one with Karen and him. And like I said, it's short. He just wanted, I think he wanted shoes. He was asking about shoes, and I told him that I'd be more than happy to bring him shoes. He's like, bring me some shoes. And I was like, okay. And then I love you. And that was in the conversation. So nothing's more than a couple minutes with him. So.
Okay. And do you understand why the department wants you to have supervision right now?
I'm still confused on that part, but I mean, I guess it is what it is.
Okay. Would you prefer them to not be supervised?
I prefer them not to be. It's easier for me because then I can just work off a Pine Rest schedule, because Pine Rest has their own visiting hours, and it works better for me because I'm having to call Karen and go through Karen. And now with me working part-time, it's kind of hard because my schedule is different each week.
Okay. And do you know why the agency is requesting supervision?
I'm assuming because of his behaviorals. That's the only thing that I'm aware of, that I'm thinking that it could be, is because of his behaviorals.
Got it. Okay. And you understand that sometimes visits kind of trigger Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. And what else would you like to add today?
Nothing more. I mean, I'm doing therapy. I've got a part-time job now. I did send Karen the information about that CPI class. I think it'd be very, very beneficial to me. So I'm more than happy to do that. I think it would benefit me a lot. So
yeah, can you tell the court more about that class?
It is sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. It is a class. It's a crisis prevention intervention training, and I've heard good about it. I've researched it. It does verbal de-escalation techniques. It's understanding procedures to crisis, motivating people in crisis, handling positive non-compliance, multiple non-violent de-escalation techniques. So I feel that, like I said, with my son having the behaviorals he has, I really think that I can benefit a lot from this class.
Okay. And is it tailored for children with additional special needs or just behaviors, if you're aware?
It sounds, I mean, from what this was saying, it just says that, you know, the crisis cycle emotional response levels, handling positive non-compliance, multiple non-violent de-escalation techniques. So I'm under the impression that it's for behavioral and you know, compliance. I mean, the school, his school uses it. The teachers are all certified through it. So Miss Van Black was also another one that mentioned it to me, and so did my therapist. So I'm still doing researches on it, but I mean, that's just what I got off of the website itself, that those are some of the cases that it goes over with you in the classes. So
Okay. And you can enroll in this class right now on your own. You're just looking for financial support. Is that correct?
yes, since I just started work. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to tell the court today?
No.
All right. I have no other questions, but some of the attorneys might. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Thomas?
Just a couple, Your Honor. Miss Eberly, are you aware that the CPI training is not a parenting class?
I am aware of that. Yes.
Okay, so are you also okay with doing and participating in an additional parenting class that might be more tailored for parents with children who have high needs?
Yes, I'm interested in that as well. Yeah. I told
Okay.
Karen that I'm okay with it, as long as it obviously it's tailored to, you know, with kids with disabilities or whatever you guys are recommending. I'm more than happy to do.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
I have no further questions.
Any questions, Ms. Nice?
No questions.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. Anyone else you'd like us to hear from? Ms. Berger?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Heist?
No witnesses today, thank you.
Very well. Comments in closing then, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think at this time there's a better plan for the child moving forward than we've had since he's sort of come under our radar. And we are looking forward to working with the treatment team through DART and mom to ensure that he can come home, as reunification does remain the goal. So we would request a 90-day review. And Your Honor, I would also request a putative father hearing at that time. I believe that would be a sufficient amount of time, if this court is inclined to grant the order for DNA testing. I believe that it would be a sufficient amount of time for the DNA referral to be made, and hopefully those results to be back for Mr. O'Connor. And other than that, again, just a 90-day review. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we are asking also for the standard review period. My client has been able to review the case services plan. We did return that signed today via DocuSign to the workers. We are looking for hopefully unsupervised parenting time at this time. Obviously, that would be a modified unsupervised in the facility, with her child, with all the monitors around. But with the hardships and scheduling right now, and I think the protective nature where the child is residing, I think that is sufficient enough supervision for the contact between him and mother. And there also would need to be coordination for phone calls. It's not like she would be able to, direct call him without any sort of intervention or help from the facility in which he was residing. So at this time, we are asking for unsupervised time. We're asking that the agency pay for that CPI class, and with the understanding that would be in addition to other classes. But that's something that my client's been asking for a couple of weeks now. So I think that would be beneficial. And then we are just asking for this case to be reviewed again in 90 days. Thank you.
All right. In order to issue the notice of putative father hearing, I need to know the child's place of birth. Does anybody have that offhand?
Thornton, Colorado.
Thornton?
Yeah.
Ms. Heiss, any comments?
No, thank you.
All right. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review hearing. I do find it I'm very glad, frankly, that this child has found his way into a facility that can properly, or I shouldn't say properly, but the best available resource that we have for him in the state of Michigan. I'm very aware of the history of this case and the companion cases in the juvenile delinquency matter. So I do want to take a moment to recognize that our caseworkers from DHS as well as from CMH have stepped up. It's been difficult and time consuming for all of us to finally connect Dylan to these resources. And so I just want to recognize everyone's efforts and how difficult that's been. And I'm glad to see that he is where he is with a plan moving forward. So as it relates to this particular matter with Ms. Everly, I have reviewed the case services plan. I do think it reflects accurately the barriers between her and reunification with her son. Those parenting skills and de-escalation skills are part of that, but tackling her own issues of trauma by way of psychological evaluation, counseling, treatment, behavioral changes for herself and her household will definitely be what is needed in order to allow the reunification between this parent and child. The child himself is also in need of specialized residential treatment at this time, which is approved and noted in the court's order moving forward for as long as that's necessary. I will note for the order supervised and unsupervised as directed or allowed by the facilities in order to best meet Dylan's need to maintain his bond with his mother in a safe way. I do think that that will adequately ensure safety and will take a little bit of pressure off of our department workers to have to supervise that for the time being. And obviously, if anything changes, bring that to me immediately if that's not working. Okay. In the meantime, between now and our next review hearing, the case services plan will become part of the court's order. We'll look for Ms. Everly to make some progress on that between now and when we come back. And Dylan will remain under the supervision, care, and custody of the Department of Health and Human Services pending our next review hearing. It is the safest and least restrictive for many of the reasons that were revisited on the record as well as in the court's findings just a few moments ago. Our next hearing will be October 24th at 1:00 p.m. That will include the opportunity for a putative father hearing. The court's order does reflect that DHS should offer the opportunity for DNA testing between Mr. O'Connor and Dylan O'Connor in the next report period. And that will give him his opportunity to step up and take legal responsibility for this child in the event that he discovers it is his, biologically speaking. I will ask mother to fill out the financial paperwork and cooperate as necessary to redirect Social Security or any other funding to help provide for her child's needs pending our next review hearing. And unless there's any other questions, that will be all for today. We'll see you again. I have the names of our participants, please, for today's review.
Lee Heist, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department.
Karen Skwinsky, foster care worker for the department.
Ms. Kudron, did you want her to spell that for you?
Nope, I got it on the docket. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Down.
Ariel Berger here on behalf of Mother Vanessa Eberly.
Go ahead, Ms. Everly, introduce yourself whenever you're ready.
I'm Vanessa Eberly.
Thank you. And from Hope Network, if you could let us know who's participating.
Good morning, Your Honor. Glenn Cutsley, clinical supervisor for the Hope Network, and I have Dylan with me as well.
Thank you. Mr. Cutson. Welcome, Dylan. All right, Mr. Cutson, would you give us the spelling of your first and last? Go to our guardian ad litem.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cutsley made it Dylan available by Zoom and we got to talk a little bit. And I remember that Dylan says he wants some more fidget toys, you know, some things to do with his hands. And he's also in the past told me that he likes Legos and he got through his school year this year just fine. He generally likes school. Mr. Cutsley was noticing that at the end of the day, Dylan was becoming dysregulated. So they were going to look at maybe changing the timing of some of his medicines. But so now it's summer and now he's in the facility and where he's in residential care. He has everything that he needs and close contact with staff 24/7. Miss Eberly and Dylan's dad have been coming to visit. They started on Dylan's birthday and I noticed a really nice picture of Dylan and his mom at a visit, and Mr. Cutsley is very open, and I hope that what Miss Eberly found is what I was trying to say to her is, this is really great care, and I think that if you believed in it the way we believe in it, and I think maybe because she's been there now, she sees what we see, but I'm speaking for her. But you know, Jennifer Franklin shows us in her counseling report on Miss Eberly. She says things like, I commend Miss Eberly that she's doing an outstanding job. She's realizing her triggers and her own biological mother's parenting and how maybe she can do better or different.
lot of progress. I'm hearing Jennifer Franklin trying to communicate to us that there's a lot of progress there. Mr. Cudsley says our next step would be maybe some off-campus visits for mother and father who are very eager to support Dylan. But at this time, residential does continue to be in his best interest while he's stabilizing. And I'm just really encouraged by the progress of this case. And I have received and reviewed Ms. Kavinsky's report, very thorough with the IEP included. That concludes my report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, the father of Mr. O'Connor, Mr. Michael O'Connor, we haven't heard much about him. And I know at the last hearing, I was very curious to see the department's position on that, but I just wonder, Ms. Heiss, if you've got any updates for us or any thoughts as far as whether or not Mr. Michael O'Connor is engaged or still planning together with Ms. Averly, or how that may affect Dylan's long-term permanency planning, which, by the way, is a part of today's hearing.
Okay, yes. So, I think everybody is looking forward to the day when Dylan can progress to less restrictive environment for his placement. And I will have to have Ms. Everly tell me how she feels about the participation of Mr. O'Connor, because I don't see any negatives. I see that he visited that. So I guess I don't see a lot on him either in this. But what I've known in the past about this case is that he's a real big support for Mrs. Everly. But I don't know if that's still the status. I guess I can't tell from the report, but thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask that Ms. Eberly be sworn in.
All right. Ms. Everly, please raise your right hand.
Thank you. Ms. Eberly, I'm just calling you today to excuse me, see how you think or feel the last reporting period has gone for you, progress you've made, services that you've participated in, and how you think parenting time is going.
I think it's going great. I mean, I've been doing really, really hard in therapy, working on, my issues that I've had. I feel that it's going great on my end. I've been in contact with Glenn and Karen along the way, trying to do what I can to help out, in any areas. Been up to see Dylan, like I said, since his birthday. I feel it's going well. Mike and I are very pleased with the services that he is getting from Dart and from Glenn. So, I mean, we're just hoping to be able to have unsupervised visits to where we can take Dylan off campus and do things on our own to see, how that goes. And, obviously we'll have a safety plan and everything in place and contact Glenn or anybody if we do have issues. So we're just excited and just hoping that everything goes smooth and we're ready to do what we need to do.
I know historically you've done some parenting classes and you're doing some role playing maybe at home and as a recommendation from therapy. How is that still going for you? Do you think that you need any more services around that area or anything you want to share?
I feel it's going pretty good. I mean, I know Karen Mike and I were discussing that obviously once we start doing the unsupervised visits that we were still going to use the 11 Logics. I forgot her name. Sorry. We were still going to use her, as to still help us through it in case we do need it. And we're all okay with, still having her when we do need her. So I still, once we do get unsupervised visits, because like I said, we don't know how it's going to go until we get the unsupervised visits. So, we need to find out, what we can still work on if there is still stuff that we need to work on with Dylan when we have him alone. So.
Okay. And as it relates to Mr. O'Connor, do you still feel that, are you guys still in a relationship and planning together?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And he's not a respondent, but it sounds like he has also historically participated in services.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay.
He tries to participate what he can, obviously, with his work schedule, but what he can participate in, and he has been participating in.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to update the court on from your perspective?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Questions, Ms. Berger?
No, Your Honor, I think that my client's given a pretty good update outside of what's in the court report.
Ms. Heiss?
Yes, Ms. Everly, in planning for Dylan, I'm wondering, you're working on your issues, he's working on his issues. Can you summarize a little bit of what Mr. O'Connor, his progress, in your opinion?
I mean, other than going to the 11 logic classes and the other 2 parenting classes that we went to, I mean, other than that, that's all he's been working on, is just the same things as, you know, 11 logic classes, the 2 parenting classes, and then whatever Karen would like us to work on, we've been trying to work on. But like I said, with his schedule, it's hard. So we've been trying to work around his schedule, and what Karen has recommended, we've completed.
Okay, and Dylan's placed in Grand Rapids. Does Mike go with you to visit?
Yes, every visit. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. That concludes my questions. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, any redirect, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Your next witness.
I would ask Ms. Skavinsky to be sworn in.
Ms. Skavinsky, come on up to our witness stand. Proceed at will.
Ms. Skavinsky, you have prepared a court report for today's hearing. Are there any updates or modifications to the court report or its attachments that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Generally, how would you summarize mom's compliance with and benefit from her case service plan this review period?
This review period, she's done very well with her case service plan. She's participated in services and completed them. She's teaming with the treatment team at DART, so she's doing very well.
And at this time, as relates to permanency planning, do you believe that when Dylan's ready for discharge, that going home is a feasible or viable option?
Yes, I would say we continue on the path of reunification.
Okay. Thank you. And is there anything that you can tell us about Mr. O'Connor's participation or how that's going?
Yeah, Mr. O'Connor is voluntarily participating in services with us right now. He is a non-respondent parent, but he has also been partnering with the treatment team at DART. He worked with Renee Moore with Vanessa. He has verbalized that he would like to continue working with her. He completed the 11 logic parenting classes.
Wonderful. Do you have any concerns about his involvement or anything like that?
No, I have no concerns. DART has not reported any concerns at parenting time. They've just reported it's going well.
Okay. All right. And I mean, this family has some of the basics we would look for, like stable housing, stable employment, stable income, all of those things in place.
Yes, they do.
And is there anything that you'd like to report as it relates to Dylan and his progress with his treatment?
Dylan is doing well. Of course, he will still require treatment for a little bit longer. He's not ready for discharge, but he is doing well. Every time I see him, he's excited to tell me that he's doing good. He is exploring his own interests. His personality is definitely coming back. He loves Pokemon right now. He loves Legos. He seems so happy every time I see him. So he's doing well.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to highlight from your court report?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor, and would move to admit the court report and its attachments.
No objection.
Thank you, counselors. The report and the exhibits are admitted. Ms. Skavinsky, are you familiar with the history of the case as far as Ms. Everly's interactions and Mr. Michael O'Connor's interactions with Dylan?
I am.
So you're aware that they're both of these parents have struggled with physical interventions with Dylan and the challenges that would present to him if he were to return to that home without those dynamics changing?
I am aware of that, but it's my understanding that he was not found to be legally responsible for Dylan at the time of the investigation.
That's because he wouldn't have our DNA testing completed at that time.
Right.
So that doesn't mean that those challenges were not there. It just meant that he wasn't named as a respondent parent because he didn't have any legal authority or responsibility for this child. He does now. And those dynamics are still those dynamics. And I really want Dylan to be able to be successful when he's returned to his mom. So I would appreciate it if you could really dig in and familiarize yourself as well as you can with Dylan's history. There were some really serious episodes that Dylan went through before he got to where he's at now, and he's doing great. But I think for those of us who've known Dylan all the way through all of his delinquency cases, in addition to this one, understand fully that there are significant risks if this home is not ready and prepared. And please look through those and make sure that you have a really good understanding of what that means. Yes, thank you. Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, any other questions?
Nothing further.
No, Your Honor. Thank you for your testimony. May I return your seat. Thank you. Your next witness, Ms. Thomas.
If Mr. Cutzley can be sworn in.
All right, Mr. Cutzley.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Cutzley. Is there any updates that you'd like to provide to the court today outside of what is already in the court report or has already been testified to?
Yes, I want to clarify what it is that is being requested, or at least what I had noted in my section of the court report. And going back to when I started with this case, family contact was essentially at a standstill with Dylan not wanting contact. And we really put that ball in Dylan's court, and he responded to that. We started with some emails that were sent to him from mom and dad. Their first visit was on Dart's campus on his birthday, which was March 28th. And they have attended weekly visits with him. I have supervised all but 2 of them. Most of them have been on our campus. There's been a couple that have been at a local park. The longest one lasted about 2.5 hours. So when I am talking about next steps for parent contact, what I would be talking about is just replicating some of those visits, but not having us present. I think that part of things has run its course, and I don't know that we're going to get much further in kind of this artificial manufactured setting. But prior to that, one of the things I had mentioned to Dylan's mom was that before even doing something like that, we would need to set up a safety plan as far as should something start to go wrong, how would that be handled, how would that be addressed. So when I'm asking for unsupervised contact, I'm not asking for home visits. Dylan is not ready for that. And so it's really just trying to continue on this path of baby steps that we're on to see where things go.
Okay. Thank you. And from what you've observed, has Dylan done well with parenting time?
Yes. And really, I really want to work with the family as they have manageable conflicts too. I'm not looking for the total absence of conflict. I want to make sure that they're handled appropriately. And I think we've taken the visits at Dart about as far as we can. It's time for just that next step.
Okay. Thank you. And is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, Dylan's healthy. He's doing well. He just had a dental exam last month, and he had a cavity in a baby tooth removed that was blocking an emerging adult tooth. But he handled that pretty well. That happened a couple of weeks back. Continues to see our psychiatrist. One of the things that we've been noticing with Dylan and in consultation with his school before school ended is we were noticing that right around the 2:30 mark in the afternoon is when he would start to struggle and when we would have the most concerns. It's usually first thing in the morning and then in that mid-afternoon period. And we've been doing some tweaking along the way with medications, Our psychiatrist, he met with our psychiatrist most recently last week, and her thoughts are that it's one of the medications he takes is probably wearing off right around that time. So we're trying to see how the most recent adjustment goes, but that's going to take some time to see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Berger, any questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Heiss.
Mr. Cutzley, thank you for helping me when I visit with Dylan by Zoom. His diagnoses have changed over time, and I noticed in your report you had, was it ADHD? You can probably say it quicker than I can. Oppositional defiant disorder and one other.
Are you asking me to state it?
Yes, please. Would you?
Yeah, just disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. That comes from our psychiatrist, not from me.
Yeah. So nature versus nurture, what it was in Dylan's environment that led him to be so dysregulated, what is organic inside him? Do you think it's a combination, or do you not know the source of all these behaviors?
Well, in some ways I can only speculate. My guess would be that Dylan organically has some of the concerns that he was born with, such as his intellectual challenges and things of that nature, some attention related stuff. My understanding is that there are times where things got really rough and unhelpful on the home front as well, and were particularly ugly before he was admitted to DART. And hearing about what Ms. Everly has talked about as far as her own triggers, and I think one of the things is that Dylan is highly reactive to emotional stress. That's probably organic and environmental. But if you have a situation where mom, dad, and Dylan are responding to emotional stress and escalating one another, then I think that is probably the recipe for him having a rough time. Ironically, and I mentioned this in my court report, Dylan still has moments where he gets escalated. But what we have found with Dylan is that going into lectures, threats, anything of that nature, when he is just so ramped up that he's not at a level to process any of that, is basically like throwing gas on a fire to try to put it out. It just makes things worse. So even though it's counterintuitive, when Dylan gets ramped up, we have different things we do, but those behaviors that I just mentioned are not on the itinerary because they don't work.
Okay, and it'll take both mom and dad need these skills for it to work in his home environment, right?
Correct.
Do you think there's any, so if Mr. O'Connor and Ms. Everly were to come to get Grand Rapids, do you think at some point it would be informative if half the visit mom took Dylan and half the visit dad took Dylan? Some way to really make sure that everyone's skills are appropriate for his safety?
That could certainly be considered. I guess it may manifest itself that way as we go forward anyway, just simply because when I'm not anticipating Dylan being discharged in the coming months. And so when Dylan goes home, he really does have either just mom and dad's at work or both of them together.
Okay.
Obviously that's down the road a piece. But as far as visits right now, I think that the support they need is with each other.
Okay, thank you so much for that direction. I have nothing further.
Any other questions, Ms. Berger, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witness testimony, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Berger?
Nothing additional, Your Honor.
Ms. Heiss?
Dylan, we're having a meeting about your family. Do you want to talk and tell us how you're doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're not in school right now, right?
Right.
You like to play outside?
Yeah.
What do you do outside?
Swing.
Do you have a bike?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been getting upset and acting out very much?
Yes.
You have been?
Sometimes.
What helps you when that happens?
Squeezies.
Yeah. Okay. You taking your medicine like you're supposed to? What, yes or no?
Yes.
When you go to bed at night, do you sleep all night or do you wake up in the middle of the night?
Somewhat in the middle of the night.
What do you need at night when you're awake?
If it's like a tummy ache, somewhat of like Tums. If I got a tummy ache. But if I just wake up for no reason, I usually go back to bed.
Okay. And how's the food there where you live?
All right.
Okay. Anything you need that you don't have?
Squeezy. Like squishy balls.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else like to talk with Dylan this morning?
No, Your Honor.
No, thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing, Dylan.
You're welcome.
Any comments in closing, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Judge. At this time, it seems that the family is working well with the treatment team. And I think that support for unification at whenever Dylan becomes ready for discharge. But it seems that things are stabilizing. I know that the parents were very anxious to start parenting time, so it's good that that has begun and they are making progress on that front. The department, Your Honor, has heard your concerns about ensuring the dynamics that were present at the beginning of the case have been resolved with both parents. And I think that Ms. Kabinski is well equipped to investigate that a little more and ensure our next court report includes that information for you. And with that, I would just ask for another 90-day review. Thank you.
Ms. Berger, any comments?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We are also in agreement with asking for another 90-day review. I know that my client has been consistent in wanting parenting time and contact with her son. So I'm excited and happy to hear that that is happening and that it's going really well and that hopefully we can move to unsupervised visits and that she's doing well in her services and being praised by her therapist and actually diving deep into, you know, the concerns that she has and things that can make her a better parent to this child. So we are asking for reunification, obviously, to stay on the table and for another review period. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss? No closing. Thank you.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review hearing. I was able to listen to updates about the work that Dylan is doing, as well as the work that his mom is doing, and some of the notes about what his father's doing as well, which I appreciate. Thank you, and credit certainly goes to Ms. Everly for digging in and doing the really difficult work of processing what you've been through so that you can be the best parent that you can be for your son. He is very complicated, high needs, and I know you recognize that, and recognizing what you can do to make yourself a better person is difficult work. So I just want to make sure I tell you, I commend you for tackling that.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy. I'm going to ask the department, as part of our reasonable efforts in the next report period, to secure a psychological evaluation for Mr. Michael O'Connor. I think that will really give us a very good picture if there are any unmet needs that he might be bringing to the table. I appreciate that he's voluntarily engaging in parenting classes. Obviously, that is very indicative that he understands that parenting his son is difficult and complicated. I won't go into all of the things that happened and were described very well, I think, by Mr. Kootsley, and just prior to his admission to where he is now. But Dylan definitely had many challenges, and so did the family, to get to where they are right now. And I think it's really important that you understand this, which I know you heard from me today, and I appreciate you listening. I'd be happy to make the delinquency file accessible to you so that you can look at that if you need to. We're talking to Ms. Heiss. or Ms. Thomas or Ms. Berger about some of the challenges that were presented to us as a team, frankly, before you were on board. But it's important work, and we appreciate what you're doing, and it certainly does constitute reasonable efforts towards reunification. Ms. Heiss is also in satisfaction of her obligations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to our counselors and to Mr. Kutzley. The services that Dylan is receiving at Hope Network are absolutely necessary for his continued recovery treatment, and it is the least restrictive place for Dylan as he continues to do the work that he's got in order to be able to return successfully to the community. So that's where he will continue to reside pending our next review hearing. And I'm hoping that September 17th at 9 a.m. will work. If that's too early, Mr. Kutzley, we can schedule one in the afternoon.
I apologize, I was muted. No, that's fine. We can make it work.
Oh, very good. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you again then on September 17th at 9 o'clock by Zoom for our next review. Unless there's any questions, that's all for today. Thank you.
Just a quick question, Your Honor. Do we have permission to do short unsupervised visits in the general community around dark?
Yes, with mom. Until I get that psychological back from dad, I prefer that he not have any unsupervised contact alone, just because I want to make sure that we have a good understanding of what that looks like before we put him and Dylan in that position. But yes, I will note in the order that you'll have the discretion through Hope Network service providers to make those decisions on supervised or unsupervised parenting time. Mr. Kutzley, is there anything that we can get around for you? Do you want any notes from some of those things that you frankly described well, but I'm not sure if you have all the information that you need for any of the things that happened prior to the time that Dylan came to reside at your facility?
I think Ms. Heiss and Ms. Kabinski and Dylan's mom have been pretty straightforward with me. In addition to it, we received a lot of documentation.
All right. Yep, I've gotten plenty of calls, and this case is very important and complicated, and we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. For our 8th review and a permanency planning hearing in this matter, may I have the names of our participants, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Nicole Underwood, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Ms. Sasha Thomas, counsel for the department.
Jill Tipton, foster care worker with the department.
Sarah Harvey, foster care worker with the department.
All right, so we're looking for Ms. Berger on behalf of Ms. Eberly.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hi, and I'm sorry, is it Eberly or I think it might be Everly?
Everly.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm an old neighbor. You'll have to forgive me.
Go ahead. Oh, Dylan Michael. And Brooke Forger, I am Dylan's clinical case manager at DART.
Good morning, welcome. All right, well, as usual, let's start with Ms. Underwood for her report, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to meet with Dylan via Zoom yesterday, actually. He is doing well. He's enjoying his summer. He's also really thoroughly enjoying his extended visits home with mom and dad. He'll be going into 7th grade this fall, and I'm happy to say that he is making progress. He'll have some setbacks here and there, but overall, Dylan is doing a good job of working through feelings and using some of the things he's learning in therapy and while he's at DART to manage stress or any issues that may arise. So again, although it might not be as quick of progress as Dylan may like, it is progress. And I think overall over the last 90 days, he has done very well. And he's continuing to understand and agree to remain where he's at while he works through things and continues to progress. And I do believe that him remaining in his current placement is the least restrictive and in Dylan's best interest at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Witness testimony this morning, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Honor. I'll ask Ms. Tipton to be sworn in.
Jill Tipton, Spicy.
Good morning, Ms. Tipton.
Morning.
You've prepared a court report for today's hearing, and it is the court report, some updated service plan for the youth, and then some incident reports during this review period. Were there any other documents that were circulated since you filed this report?
No.
Okay, and to the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to your report?
No.
But my line of questioning is going to be a little odd today because we don't often see this where we have full compliance from parents and they've made progress and their case service plan is complete. Is there anything that you want to just highlight for the record as it relates to Ms. Everly's compliance with and benefit from her case service plan during this review period?
I would just like to highlight she's continuing to ask for more time with Dylan, as is Michael O'Connor. They are enjoying having Dylan home on his home passes and are continuing to want to keep that going.
Awesome. And as it relates to any outstanding needs, are there any outstanding needs that this family has that additional services were referred to during this review period or need to be referred to?
No, I don't believe so.
So all the basics are still the same, such as, continued stable housing, employment, making progress in therapy, making progress in parenting time. All of those things are status quo or not status quo, but continuing to be in significant compliance and demonstrating benefit from all of those really basic things.
Yes, I think everyone is continuing to make progress. And we still just keep moving forward. But yes.
Okay. So this case has been open for a significant amount of time. Do you have any opinion as to how the court should progress given the amount of time that the youth has been in care, but then also considering mom's compliance and benefit from her case service plan?
Sure. I feel like I would ask to keep the goal of reunification because parents are continuing to make progress. We've had, I believe all of the home passes have been successful. Dylan continues to make progress. It's been a slow but steady rate of improvement with Dylan and his services at DART and with his parents. So I don't feel at this time that it would be appropriate for Dylan to go home, but I feel that reunification still should be the goal. And we continue to work towards that, and we can do it at a time when not only Dylan, but his parents and the community would all be safe.
Wonderful. And speaking of the youth's progress, is there the report reflects that there's continued steady progress during this review period. Incident reports or incidents have been down. Things at home are going really well during those visits. Is there anything else that you'd like the court to know about how he is doing from your perspective?
I would just like to highlight Dylan's improvements in his behavior this last reporting period. I think he's made a great amount of progress. Incident reports are down. Anything assaultive is just it's not happening, and the home passes have been great for him to be able to see his parents and his dog Harley. He loves to go home and see his dog too. So
how long are those home passes generally for? Is it like one overnight, or is it for a weekend, a long weekend?
They've been Wednesday through Sunday. That's where they're at now, every other Wednesday through Sunday.
And has the team been discussing how that might work during the school year?
No, I know that we know the school year is coming, and we will have to make modifications then, but to my knowledge, we don't have a plan, for when that would happen. I know, Vanessa just, during this reporting period, started working full time. And so I think in August, she's going to find out her schedule moving forward, what her days off will be, her shift. So at that point, we will be able to get more of a concrete plan for when we could have Dylan home.
Okay, wonderful. Is there, I know that Ms. Harvey is here as well, that she will be taking over case management responsibilities. When can we expect that to happen, or do you have an idea?
Yeah, and in the month of August, that would take place.
Awesome. Okay, and is there anything else that you'd like to report for the court today?
No, thank you.
With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Tipton and would move to admit the court report with its attachments.
Objection?
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. They are admitted. Questions for this witness, Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Tipton, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible to keep a case open once a parent has completed all of their case plan services?
I do believe it is, just based on Dylan has not yet successfully completed all service programming at DART, where he's working through it. But based on, I think, the extenuating circumstances with this case, and Dylan's still in residential treatment, yes.
Okay. Would there be a risk of harm if he were returned to his mother today?
Today, I believe it would be highly likely, yes.
Okay. And so my client has completed all of her services. Is that correct?
Yes, I do believe she's still ongoing with individual counseling, but everything else, yes, she has.
Okay. And so at this point, we're waiting for the minor child to complete some of his services?
Yes.
And is there anything else that she should be doing at this point?
No, I think she's done great doing everything she needs to.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. No further questions.
All right, Ms. Underwood, any questions?
I have no additional questions. Thank you.
Okay, any redirect, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Tipton. All right, any additional witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Berger?
Vanessa, would you like to testify today?
Sure, I will.
Okay.
Ms. Vanessa Everly. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay, Vanessa?
I can, yes.
Okay. And you heard Ms. Tipton's testimony, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is there anything that you would like to add to that? Any updates that you would like to give the court?
Like other than what Tipton said, I did recently just start a new job, so I am kind of figuring out my set schedule, days off, stuff like that. But I have been in contact with Jill, letting her know how work is going and the progress of it. And then I told her as soon as I do find out my set schedule and days off that I would let her know, and then try to work something out with Brooke as well from DART to move forward on visiting with Dylan.
Okay. And he's been able to complete some home passes, is that correct?
Yes, yep.
How have those visits gone?
Those have been doing really well. We had a little bit of a setback, but it wasn't too bad. He bounced back, and we just kind of explained to him he was getting into the video games and stuff, and we were just explaining, that it can't always be all about video games and watching TV, that we needed to go out and do more, activities instead of just sitting in front of the TV and playing video games, because unfortunately he doesn't get that where he's at.
Right.
I want him to get into the habit of doing it, and then him going back to where, back to DART and not being able to do it. And he kind of got upset, and he went to his room and came back out, and he's like, I understand. So it was, he handled it very well. So I'm very, very impressed with how far Dylan has come.
So you think he's making progress in his services?
Yes, he is, yes.
And are you wanting him to complete his treatment there at DART?
Yes, I would, I'm indefinite with, everybody else, and that, it is taking a long time, but I am seeing improvement, and I'm very pleased with how far he has become. And so, yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to share with the court today?
No.
All right, I don't have any other questions for you, but some of the other attorneys might, okay?
All right, thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Underwood?
Miss Eberly, do you believe it's in Dylan's best interest to remain at DART while he completes his treatment?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you said you'd like some more visitation. What would that visitation look like? I know you have a schedule to work with and things like that, but what would you like to see as far as parenting time goes?
We were just trying to shoot for maybe like an actual like full week with Dylan, but I mean, I know that's gonna be hard between my schedule and Dad's schedule. So, but we're grateful just to get the 4 days with him. But we were hoping to maybe, because we have vacation coming up, and Mike has vacation, and so we were thinking about maybe going, on a vacation for like a week up to the UP or somewhere. So, but haven't quite figured that out yet. So,
okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Okay, any redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, any other witnesses?
No one further.
Ms. Underwood?
Dylan, did you want to say anything today, or were you just here to listen to the meeting?
Oh, just here to listen.
Is there anything you want to say?
I'm happy that I'm doing home visits.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell the judge today or your family?
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Judge. That's
I
all.
want to see my dog more often.
I have no further witnesses, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Dylan or for Ms. Forger?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
I guess the only question I have, Ms. Forger, is I'd like to get our reviews consistent with your quarterly reports, which looks like the next one would be coming out in August, maybe late August. So what would be a good time for me to set our next review? Like when does the report actually issue in August? And how much time would you need to circulate that so that we can have it 7 days ahead of time?
Let me pull that up really quick.
Yeah, because I appreciate the updates, but they're for May. So I'm like, okay, what's happening in June? So I'd like to get us on track with you.
Let's see here. Maybe if it loads.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be maybe May 29th through August, if it's probably the end of August, but I just...
Yeah, they're typically every 3 months. Oh, it's pulling up right now. His next one is due August 25th.
All right, so if we schedule this, assuming everyone can do it on September 9th, that would give you almost 2 weeks to circulate that report. Does that work?
Yeah.
All right, is everyone available Tuesday, September 9th at 11?
I'm not, Your Honor. I'm unavailable those first 2 weeks of September for mediation training.
Oh, that's right. I gotta get that up again. All right, so the 16th then you should be done?
Yes.
Successfully, I'm sure.
Oh.
I got Tuesday, September 16th, 9 or 10.
Either time works for me, Your Honor.
I'm available, Your Honor.
I can make that work, Judge.
All right, let's do 10 o'clock then on Tuesday, September 16th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that will, just because of the age of the case, it'll be a permanency planning hearing as well as review. But the court does find that all interested parties are given notice for purposes of today's hearings and confirms, which is agreed to by our caseworker and our LGAL, that reunification is an appropriate goal. It also seems to be well supported by the information contained in the updates from the residential treatment center where Dylan is working on his own skill building. There were significant gains according to what I'm reading from March to May. So congratulations to Dylan for that. I understand wanting to see your dog more. They're great companions. And I'm glad to see that you're able to maintain those visits at a 5-day stretch. That's great progress. I do want to acknowledge that there are some real challenges associated with the progress that Dylan's made. And I think it's great to see him making that progress, but I agree very much with the professional treatment plan that indicates that we want to see a 3-month stretch of overall successful implementation of Dylan's skill building, such that we're reducing any kind of physical and verbal aggressive incidents significantly. I think that's imperative. Those were many of the reasons that this child was brought into care in the first place. And I'm also very glad to see that his parents are in full compliance with their skill building. And I think that that needs to continue to happen in order to avoid the significant issues that can sometimes happen when this child becomes dysregulated to the point that he's physically aggressive. We've had a number of concussions and some other things that have occurred as a result of both the individuals trying to help Dylan and also his own challenges. And so there's a need to continue skill building on both sides. And I agree and support fully the plan through DART and staff there. So for those reasons, I will continue the jurisdiction of the court and the supervision of the case through the Department of Health and Human Services. The qualified residential treatment for this child is necessary, appropriate, and is meeting his needs. There are no lesser restrictive measures at this time for many of the reasons that the court briefly revisited, but also the information contained in the reports, as well as the confirmation again by our guardian ad litem and caseworkers in their support of progress in that context, in that setting. So that is the safest and least restrictive for the child at this time. We will continue pending our next review, which we've already scheduled for Tuesday, the 16th of September at 10 a.m. Anytime. The court order will also contain the fact that, or all of the findings that are necessary, including that the court is satisfied with all of our counselors and guardian ad litem and case managers. So thank you, everyone. And unless there's any questions, that's all for today. We'll see you September 16th.